Hello and welcome to the Contenders Trials Europe and Middle East. It is day 2 and Tier 2 is ready and revving to bring you the best Overwatch that you could wish for while cuddling. In pole position today, we have Stop Toxicity, ready to pull the pedal to the metal against VASTA. And in the second heat, we welcome a race between O1 Esports and keine ahnung, as they corner their way through this season's leaderboard. Whatever the outcome today may be, I'm sure it won't be a drag. My name is the Olimancer, your grid girl for today, and with me is the crew chief of casting, the marshal of Metapigs, and the speed trap titan of trials, Man of Glass.
Hello. Obviously we have a lot of games happening today. 4 to be exact, and obviously 2 will be covered by us. We have another stream going on the side, so if you have a favorite team and they're not playing here, make sure you check out the other stream, because of course we don't want to deprive you of your fandom. But Stop Toxicity versus VASTA Gaming, I wouldn't say it's the most anticipated match, but it is a match that is full of potential surprises, because Stop Toxicity, a very new team, a team that a lot of people not quite familiar with. They obviously fought their way up through Open Division like a lot of teams did, and they have definitely been a bit of a surprise. Not everyone saw them coming. There's some more names that people have been familiar with, people have been seeing around, names like Skytor, Alex, Kex. People have seen them around. I've seen them around, and they have made their way through Overwatch over the past few years. But it's still a roster that has a lot to prove, and they should be very hungry to do so. And with a name like Stop Toxicity, I can't even say. See, I'm so against toxicity, I cannot even say the word. Like, that's how bad it is.
Wow, let's call it the T word.
Exactly, they call it the T word. But they are up against VASTA Gaming, a more established entity, not a team that is to be trifled with, so to speak. But they have suffered a bit of a loss, because VASTA came into this trial season being, well, boosted by the very experienced Dutchman in Facility, and now when we went into trials, Angry Titans stole their player away, so Sana had to come back into the roster. They're playing with their good old Sana Esports originator. And when we go into this map of Ilios, we will see how much that has affected VASTA. They did pretty good yesterday, but Stop Toxicity didn't. They lost their first game yesterday.
Yeah,
but there's no guarantee for the future, because the opponent you have makes all the difference, and the maps you play on as well. We will have a new map set today starting on Ilios, and Ollie, it's going to be Lighthouse.
Oh, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Welcome to Greece, welcome to Ilios, and this is, of course, the Lighthouse, and I'm looking very much forward to seeing how these teams are going to be stacking up against it. Now, one question before we start, though. Losing Facility on the side of VASTA, with the Genji not being as predominant as it has been in the last couple of weeks, your predictions for that? How much, weakened have they been compared to a couple of weeks ago?
It all depends really on how well Sana is able to play. Like, Facility is a force of nature that has had so much experience in Overwatch. We were really expecting them to be picked up for Overwatch League at some point, but then they took a little bit of a break. And now that Genji's back in the meta, Facility is all back in the game, but that's not the game we're looking at right now. It's VASTA versus Stop Toxicity, and they're coming out of the gate in these mirror compositions.
They are, and we already see Alex trying to find some targets. Gets a bit wounded on the sideline here. As we see that it is VASTA who are firing a lot of damage out there, even though Stop Toxicity tried to get closer. It's the Muffin who bites the first bullet here, and now that should mean, and we do see that it actually happens, that Toxicity is going to go back to the spawn while VASTA takes the real estate.
So far, VASTA looking comfortable as the 6-man roster that we know them. Sana has pre-existing synergy with the team, so it doesn't look like their absence has been all too missed. I mean, it has of course been missed, but it has at least not shaken up their playstyle. Sana looking very comfortable so far, and it will all be up to Stop Toxicity to throw a wrench in those plans. And with the current resources, teams should be evenly matched.
The ult was pretty good there for Stop Toxicity. They're trying to take the high ground, but you see immediately that Rocket and Nipahawk were ready for that, throwing in a hold accretion, and you already see that the window of opportunity, the amplification matrix is going on. Oh, Ramon does find a target in Kage, who was trying to flank it away on the sideline, but we do see that Sauna is already ready with a couple of, VASTA is ready with a couple of their ultimates right there. Old habits die hard. Ramon with a quadra kill cleans it up. Stop Toxicity should be able and are taking the real estate. And what a play it was.
I mean, all of that starts out by Kage being in such a forward position. They thought they could catch them out with a bob from the backline, maybe a dynamite. But it was Mamon that was completely ready for that. Gets complete capitalization on their blade afterwards. Great play. Stop Toxicity in control of the point now.
Yeah, Ramon was able to come in from the sideline and immediately just make sure that something happened, while the entire front line was basically busy dealing with the pressure that the rest of Stop Toxicity was putting up on the rest of VASTA. So that was beautifully set up. Now we're riding in with Kage. He's firing in a little bit of a dynamite, hoping to get the Bob even as quickly as possible. We do see that in terms of ult economy right now, Stop Toxicity right up. Keg making sure that there's enough shield in there, but VASTA still up on that high ground, and they are now looking for a fight. Nice hold there on the side of Rocket, basically stopping the Bob in the tracks, and that's an interesting way of doing that. Very well coordinated. Sauna jumps in there with a double dash kill, and immediately it is looking up for VASTA, as they should be able to take back the point they already have, and they are very close to equalizing this.
And it's such an interesting tank matchup because both tanks are doing a good job of getting out their whole accretion combos. Gravitic fluxes from both teams were counted very nicely, and so far it's really only been those Genji blades and the Genji plays that have really finished off targets. So we know this is a Genji meta, we know it's been great, but that doesn't mean that it should be all about the Genji, although these teams really want to make it that way.
They do try that because, a couple of weeks can give you muscle memory quite easily. There's a blade coming out from Sauna. Doesn't really find a lot of targets. Wants to go over the top there, but you do see the rotation from Stop Toxicity. Now you even make me do it. The rotation was just to actually predict the movement and make sure that everyone got out safe. Kage with a double kill, though, is able to at least get something out of that position. Ramon with a double kill has the blade of his own, dashes through it, and is able to equalize. So this fight should still be going on, even though it's a skirmish at best right now.
Yeah, in the middle of that, the point was split for Stop Toxicity, meaning that they will be able to be in last fight territory right now. There is no ultimates left for them, though. This last fight is going to be all VASTA if they make it back in time, and it looks like they will be able to.
Well, you do see Kex is very close to that gravitic flux, so they could try and fire something in. There was a Kex actually tried to fire it. No direct reflection on the kill streak right there, but Sauna now with a blade looks for target. The overtime wick is already running. There's the counter cap. It's on 95%, and we do see Stop Toxicity need to be near that point. It's 2 versus 1 on the point. Sauna finds one of two, finds the other one right now. It's a 1 versus 3. The only one still on there is that Bob. The overtime wick going down, and I don't think anyone is there to touch it. No, there isn't, and VASTA takes the first point here.
VASTA looking as good as they ever have. Maybe not as dynamic and as explosive with the Genji plays as they were with Facility on it, but it doesn't seem that Sauna is a weak addition to the team, so to speak. It's not just a random replacement that they had to get in last minute. They're familiar with this. Their roster looking stable, and right now it is going to be on well here, exactly the same as we saw just before. They'll use that Symmetra to get out of spawn quickly, and they will just get the Genji Ashe matchup again in that DPS. It is it's interesting. When we talk about VASTA, we often talk about Rocket and Nipahawk being so good on the tank line. They have such a synergy with the Halt Accretions. But I really think that Skytor and Kex have, I wouldn't say have their number, but they're equally matching up right now. The only thing that's really happening is that VASTA keeps on top of that ult economy. When they win that first fight, that's really the deciding factor in that last one.
Well, at the end of the day, you see that on Control more often than not, that the first fight win is equal to the last fight win, because, you know, you can only swap a good point so much before you lose control of it. Speaking of losing control, Kex already has Rocket out of it. That means that Stop Toxicity now in a very good position to move up onto the real estate. It's a North versus 5. There's no contest from VASTA, and that is the first cap. So, by my reckoning, this point should go to Stop Toxicity.
Yeah, it's Stop Toxicity, a good first point cap. Getting a little bit of a server error, it seems like. Plus players seem to be stuck in their movements. And yeah, that's a server disconnect. So that means we'll have to go back into the game again. Obviously, luckily you can set up the game so that you start on that second checkpoint, or on that stage where you want to start. So, oh, we just get back into it. They were able to reconnect to the server, so we're going back into the exact spot we were before. No problem there. Going back into this game right now.
Well, I'll give you a big quick update. 36% on the clock and counting. Stop Toxicity pushing very deep into Vasta's zone right there. And now Vasta first grouped up together, and they are coming back on towards the point. And I'm sure that they will try and blitz it out, because they have basically lost half a map point right already because of that little bit of the hiccup. Now, we do see Kage looking to control that high ground over here. There it is, the amplification matrix. And Ramon trying to jump in there, gets stopped in his blade, is still able to pull in the double, and has got some healing right there. So now he can go really deep. The Muffin saving his life there in the middle of the blade. That was absolutely huge. And that means Stop Toxicity. Stop the blitz over there before it happened.
Yeah, the blitz was never able to come out because both teams had all their ultimates ready. Stop Toxicity have been able to win 2 fights in a row without using anything, so they had everything still to play with. Now Sana will have that blade ready, and they'll have the Gravitic Flux and Supercharger, so plenty to drag out resources and then kill. But that's not going to happen here.
No, Kex is absolutely able to flux them up, and that gives Ramon the opportunity to jump into the backline again. Skytor and the Muffin able to close it out. Overtime Wick is running right now, but there is no one there, and no one even close to contest that. And this is the 1-1 right there, and I am not sure whether or not we can solely blame that on that little bit of the server disconnect, or whether or not that was just really, really well played.
Stop Toxicity did a great job of just going aggressive. They always had the initiative. There was never a moment where they weren't actually initiating the fight, whether it was with a blade, with Gravitic Flux. And of course, those first 2 fights almost seemed to not happen whatsoever. They were just at 50% with all their ultimates before anything really went in a different direction. And now we'll go to Ruins, which is this is the most different one of these points. This is where you see teams experimenting a lot of the time. And it looks like Vasta is going to do that. They are going to go in here with this Reinhardt Diva composition. They're going for the full rush, nothing diveable, nothing really easy to get to. And they're just going to rush into that enemy double barrier comp.
Yeah, that's what, because Raimon was just able to, well, scare them out of it for a little bit, if I may say it like that. I'm not entirely sure that that is the only way. They might have just scrimmed it this way, and that is the reason they do it, rather than, you know, just trying to get out of the yoke from Waymone, who's on the sideline right now, trying to get that blade up, already at 50%, but has to pull away. Now there's a nice hold coming up on the entirety of Vasta. It looks like Skytor is just trying to control that battlefield, but Niphog on the sideline finds Alex. First one is already being set up, and now Vasta, especially Sauna, looking for some targets, but it is able to get the Genji out of those sidelines, even though Skytor was able to take revenge on Niphog. Kage looking for an opening, doesn't really find it with that double shield and the immortality field right away. But right now, Vasta in control of the point, and it doesn't look like they are going to let Stop Toxicity close anytime soon.
No, they're able to just close distance when they want to and stay away when they don't. And right now, they're just on top of Stop Toxicity. Kex already down.
Kek's already down. Abs in there with the coalescence and is trying to push their team further in there. And that is working like a charm. Abs and Nipperhawk find their target. Sauna on the sideline together with Kage are making sure that they do plenty of damage. And it's 60% on the clock. VASTA has had enough, doesn't like to be dominated on the second point, and gives it to them on the third, so far at least.
And there's nothing that Stop Toxicity can do against this. I mean, there's a speed boost on Ange, and they're just rushing towards them. There's not enough poke they can do to slow down VASTA, and they just get exploded on. Now Rocket is hiding for a flank shatter. They're in that room on the right, and if Stop Toxicity doesn't spot them, this could be a horrible experience for them.
Well, it does look like it was a horrible shock for ANJ, at least, who went very low. Fires the sound barrier, saves himself, is not in time to fire Abs as well. Ramon already coming in from the sideline there, and Sauna doing it on the equal, and that was a full Star Wars double blade move. And it does look, with both of the supports being down right away, Stop Toxicity can take the 99% swap, and that's exactly what they do.
Yeah, they're able to flip that point. Good for them. Obviously, they were in a very precarious position at 99%, and they're still holding on to plenty of ultimates. Sauna and VASTA, they might actually have to be able to charge up their ultimates a little bit. There might be a few eco pushes, but they have the time. You know, they can.
Well, time is not the issue at this point for Stop Toxicity. It is for VASTA, because holding this for another, well, 70 seconds, that is a daunting task against a team like that. Ramon on the sideline finds Nipperhawk, who just launched that bomb in, was vulnerable for a second, goes in for a second. Bob is out for Alex and finds Rocket on the sideline, and that means Stop Toxicity right now in a good position, but they have to invest a lot in order to make that happen.
Yeah, cycling through your ultimates on the defense is an art in itself, and Stop Toxicity will have one left getting close-ish to the blade, but it's VASTA that just have another 50%. That's roughly 120 seconds in order to just build up these ultimates and take time.
Kage has the Dance of Death, has that Death Blossom, and is looking for some way to flank it, I imagine. VASTA Gaming take their time to get their strategy up and going while they move in from the side. Ramon with another blade, though. Sauna is the first one to take a target, takes two targets there in the Muffin and Alex, and Rocket and Kage are just cleaning out right now. Sauna leading the charge on that. Ramon was able to get one target, but at the end of the day, gets bladed by his counterpart. The overtime we're going down. VASTA takes it handily, and that's our first map going to them, but it did look more close than I expected it.
Yeah, I honestly am very impressed with the way that VASTA is able to play here. It's been such a good experience to see VASTA just switch up to that new composition, that different composition, because the idea behind that Reinhardt Diva is that you cannot get dove, and if they play double barrier, you have the Lucio to speed into them. You're not giving people the opportunity to prod and poke away for, I don't know, like 30 seconds and then start killing you. So you have a little bit more sustain than a dive does. You have the mobility to avoid a dive, and you still have a lot of damage with that Reaper and that Reinhardt to close range, do a lot of burst, and make sure that a double barrier and a dive just still get deterred. So very nicely done from VASTA. Stop Toxicity didn't seem to be ready for a comp like that, and that's usually what you will see with a more established team, a team that has a core that's been together for a bit longer and play at a higher level for a bit longer. They've got those meta compositions down, and they've diversified a bit more.
Well, there's one thing I need to disagree on there. I think not swapping, thinking that your Ashe can do enough damage to actually keep a Reaper and the Reinhardt at bay isn't in and of itself bad. So I think VASTA just more comfortable on their changes than Stop Toxicity maybe on how to deal with it, rather than purely compositional.
Yeah, and going here back into Volskaya Industries will be our 2CP map as the second map today. Yeah, I mean, it's Volskaya Industries has always been that 2CP map that doesn't quite feel like the others. It's more open. It has more of a I'm trying to think of a map that I can compare with this, but honestly, it's hard. It has more of an open feel. A lot more teams like to play things like dive on a map like this because it's the high grounds around, especially point A, are just ridiculously important. We might see something come out on the attack that's not quite standard, but it looks like VASTA on defense at least is just gonna go with the tried and true. They're gonna go with the double barrier. And aside from teams going a bit of sniper and maybe going with Symmetra and teleporting around this chokehold, there's not that much change that we see come out from a lot of teams on this map. A lot of teams still like to play this tried and true.
Yeah, that's right. Volskaya is one of those maps, I would say, that you can play two ways. Either you can go with the diving route, like you said, or what I would do is a very slow composition. Take the scenic route, like Stop Toxicity is doing right now, and just try and hold your ground for as long as possible and just whittle it down. We've seen that happen a couple of times in the past when the double shield meta wasn't as prevalent as it is right now. But that's another way of doing it. Right now, it is a combination of both, though. You see that double tank just move in there and try to lumber their way into that main approach, not going for any high grounds, just trying to go via main, and they have to right now pull back a little bit. You do see that as VASTA was laying on the pain, a lot of just, you know, pokey damage laid in onto top of it.
It's because Alex went down. Alex was on Widowmaker alone in choke, and this is the reason why I always say just don't play Widowmaker right now, because the defense will send their Genji, just solo kill your Widowmaker, and then you're down one. And meanwhile, their Ashe and it just is doing more damage than your Genji to your team. So you will always lose unless she gets that one kill.
And here we go. Even though there was an immortality field, Sona comes in from the side and just starts slashing it in. Kage's fired the Bob in. The two ultimates to completely wipe it out. What a wipe it was. That was a beautiful setup there.
Very nicely done, and then you trade that amplification matrix. Alex is still only 40% to the Bob, so Kage is very well going to be able to, from the defense, get that ultimate advantage, or at least get the ultimate charge advantage. So they'll be back up online in about the same moment. The Stop Toxicity has 2 minutes left, 2 minutes down, and nothing has really happened. They just lost the fight and not really had one before that.
Yeah, it takes them a lot of time to reassemble, I would say. You know, even losing two team fights like that, it takes them a long time to get back into fighting shape and try to do it again, whether or not it's by the same approach or a different one. But it is right now the third time they're doing that approach. That whole dash into that by VASTA, though. That was beautiful. Rocket and Sona just playing in absolute beautiful tandem. But now they're getting pushed in by Stop Toxicity. And it's Wamone who has the blade now. That's three of them already. Looking for more. Alex on the sideline makes Rocket regret some life decision. And that's the fourth kill for Kage. And finally a cap for Stop Toxicity. 1 minute 15 on the clock.
1 minute, 1 minute 10 by the time they actually cap it, and 4 minutes for point B is enough. It definitely is. But you saw how much time they lost on point A by first making just the incorrect decision to play the Widowmaker, and then afterwards losing that fight like tremendously fast. There's already a lot that VASTA can do in their own attack to counter that. Stop Toxicity and VASTA, though, both plenty of ultimates left, so this is not quite the snowball that you can often see on 2CP.
That's right. Kexto is trying to go for the Gravitic Flux, but gets surprised by Nipperhawk firing his in first around that corner. Beautifully set him. That means Stop Toxicity. They have lost their momentum yet again. Sona looking for Ramon there, but gets stopped by the Muffin with a nice hook shot. That was beautifully set up there. And Stop Toxicity now 1v1. Will they go back in? One person, well, not less, but one person still coming back in there. Kex firing that Gravitic Flux in there and moving all the way through to stop that amplification matrix from mattering. And it's Ramon coming in on the sideline, firing Rocket. Sona going down there as well. The capture is going clear. It's 4 people on the point. No one coming in back, but there's Doomfist. Doomfist trying to jump in Kage, trying to make something happen while the capture is still going on. It's now 3 versus 2 on that point as they try and get that last little bit of green away from the white there. Alex with the double kill makes that happen. 2 minutes and 39. And what a time bank that still is, though.
What a time bank. 2 minutes 39. And you gotta imagine how much time have you lost on point A and how quickly do you take point B that you still end up with a time bank like that, because that's about a 1 minute 20 take that they did on point B there, and that's And it's pretty impressive. And of course, the ultimates were online for them, but so were they from VASTA. And that VASTA is not able to get the same value out of their ultimates at Stop Toxicity there. That kind of shows that, Stop Toxicity has a lot of potential. They can definitely go toe-to-toe with a team like VASTA. And so far, they are showing that. It was on Ilios, close on one map, and then not so close on the other two. But that was not so close for both teams. They get 100-0, and on the other side, it might as well have been 100-0. Looking at these little sky robots always, Ollie. Like,
yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, how much do you need to make like steel foundries, etc., to just get a bot like that open? Like, we're always talking about environmental issues, etc., and it just doesn't seem like that's transpired to the Overwatch universe.
Well, maybe it's just cardboard, organic, recycled cardboard. You can't really see that right now from there. But domo arigato, Mr. Roboto, to our observer. That was a beautiful shot. So what I need to say, one thing you touched your point on, there's a lot of potential on Stop Toxicity, and I think that is mostly on individual quality of their players. You do see VASTA's movement in terms of a unit, in terms of a team, in terms of the setup plays is better. But in brawling quality, I think Stop Toxicity might have the edge here. What do you think about that?
They could very well, but it's all about this first attack. If VASTA gets this first point cap, they put themselves in a very clear win condition, or at least a very clear advantageous position. And Sauna already going all the way up to Alex, and Alex knows how that goes. They had it in the past.
Exactly. Alex had a couple of shuriken in the back and is wise enough to at least pull back, but then at the end of the day, Sauna is able to jump in there, make sure that something happened. There's the stun immediately countered though. We do see a bit of a fight here between Sauna and Wymone, but at the end of the day, it's Wymone who has to pull back here. Now moving in though, VASTA going around that corner, pushing the entirety of Stop Toxicity into the little side room here, and now that should be the starting shot, and it is. Nipperhawk fires in onto Sky Tour, and we do see Sauna in the backline get stunned out, and VASTA taking it handily though. A&J and Nipperhawk able to do a lot of damage, and that was on the back of Kage and his dynamite, I suppose.
It's so indicative of how the meta goes these days. Like, fights are very long. It takes a long time to find that opening, and a minute and a half for one fight. Not something we're used to in this game anymore. And it's we see Ollie talk for a long time, and now he has to talk for even longer. It's just a painful moment.
Yes, so, I'm sorry to everyone that I talk so much.
It's fine. We will have 5 ultimates online for both teams, but VASTA has a very small window in which they can have the advantage and just cap straight away.
Oh, speaking of window, there we go. That was nicely stopped by that immortality field. Otherwise, that would have been nasty. But Sauna already taking down 3. Kage firing in the bomb, already firing it in. This is a full flash. That's a team wipe, and that should be a handicap. 4 minutes 50. Well, something like that. 48. There's something in there. Wymone on the Tracer extends the timer. Incoming as well. There is the Muffin finally coming down there on this sideline. But we do see Stop Toxicity not ready to give up yet. Bob fired in. Gets very low there for a second. But Skytor and Alex able to actually stabilize the situation. And that looked very, very bleak for a moment. But it is not over yet. Very, very well done here by Wymone and by the Muffin on that Lucio there for a second.
I'm gonna be honest, that's VASTA falling apart. That should never happen. You have such an advantageous position. You have the possibility to target focus. And the only reason why that's even allowed to happen is both VASTA's target focus being slightly lacking, not knowing to go for the Lucio or the Tracer, or even, I think someone else came in at that point as well. But it's also Stop Toxicity just getting 6 members spawn at the same time so they can all run in together.
Now moving in on the sidelines, Sauna trying to go for Alex yet again, who was trying to take an off angle. There's Kage firing in a lot of dynamite. That's a lot of damage, but at the end of the day, Alex is the better Ashe in that situation. Sauna looking for an opening, trying to go in there. Dust with a big dash, and then immediately follows it up with the blade. Has to jump out for a second, but Rocket is able to take advantage of that positioning there and is able to do a lot of damage. Nipperhawk with the ultimate with the double, and that closes it out. Beautifully played here. Round 2 complete, but a lot closer than it initially looked, I must say.
Yeah, Stop Toxicity is able to almost close that gap. They would have had probably a minute and a half or more of a difference, and now it's only 45 seconds. That's very winnable. It's only one fight, really, that you have advantageous if you are Vasta here. And as you Stop Toxicity go on the attack again in the overtime round, some Volskaya, and so far, they really have to have shown that they're just not a team to be underestimated. Yes, they lost their game yesterday, but Vasta, they have to be careful that they're not going to let it go the other way and have them go 1-1.
Yeah, Vasta really need to lean on their experience here now. Keep your cool. Try to make sure that something like that return round point B does not happen again to you, where you basically leave, some stuff to chance and lose 2 minutes of advantage, because that's literally what happened just a second ago.
Yeah, because I will say, I think their order of operations is excellent. They always get the right ultimates and the right abilities to be able to drag out what Stop Toxicity wants to use to counter something. And they always set it up correctly for Sauna's Blade. There's never been a moment where I'm like, oh, they misused that, or oh, maybe an immortality field here and there in that fight that they lost there. But generally speaking, Sauna is on point with that.
1 minute 52 on the clock. Now, Stop Toxicity needs to have a faster point A than they had the first go around, but Vasta is defending very, very closely in there, and that will be very hard to move forward. This time coming in from the other angle. Ramon coming in with the side angle, trying to go for that 1v1 onto Sauna yet again, but has to get back to the rest of the team. Now going over the top, looking for Nipperhog on that sideline, but it is the rest of Stop Toxicity that now need to push in with a lot of aggression. That does work. The Muffin takes on a double with the help of a lot of their teammates. Of course, Johan is able to get abs as he was hiding behind that little electro grid. 1 minute 10 on the clock. That should be the cap, but that doesn't leave a lot of time for point B now, does it?
No, but it never would have. So they get an extra half minute. They're only 30 seconds down, really, when it comes to the starting time bank. And this is what happens, Alex, when you don't start on Widowmaker on Volskaya in the meta right now. So good adaptation. They realized it wasn't working, and they executed like they did in the third fight last time.
They did. 1 minute 15 on the clock, where Moan and the rest of their team is moving forward, trying not to be too toxic about what happened to them earlier. Bob is coming out, and Kage on the sideline is making sure that a lot of pot shots are closing in on breaking both of those barriers and forcing Stop Toxicity back.
To eventually initiate, but they're looking for that opening. They're waiting for 1 or 2 ultimates to be ready. They're still taking it slow enough to poke a bit away, but Vasta is getting that lead in most of those ultimate charges right now.
Look at that! Amplification Matrix makes it easy for Kage to get not 1, but 2 shots out there, and Vasta Gaming are pushing back hard, pushing all the way back to that little bit of a parking lot, I would say, and it's 20 seconds on the clock.
Vasta realizes they know that if they kill Skytor late enough, they're going to be able to not be there for that last fight. And that's a fault on Skytor's part. They tried to retreat, but then they weren't sure if they had to go to the open or back to drop off the map. And that is where you might lose this objective and you won't be able to capture it.
3 seconds to go. They need to do something risky. There we go. The Brigade ultimate is already going in there. We do see Ramon on the other side there, but is not able to survive for long enough. Now Sauna coming in there, has that blade pop, and it looks like Vasta are closing out a count, and they are. The overtime wick is still running, 1 versus 3, but even Skytor with the spin to win will not be able to extend it this long, and that means round 3 complete. Now we flip it over.
And they were always going to have a fairly easy fight, Vasta, because of that late kill, because of the staggers.
Yeah.
But it's still good that they're able to execute that. You saw Wamon had to touch the point on the Genji. Half the other team was thrown in the air by the Flux. And it just splits the entirety of what Stop Toxicity wants to do up. It bursts down the rhythm that they had set up and the pace they wanted to set. They couldn't execute on that last fight. Vasta cleans it up. And now Vasta, very clear win condition. Capture point A and then go for that one tick on point B, but there's a very real possibility we might see this go to a draw, and that is what Vasta wants to prevent. They just want to go up 2-0 in the series. You don't want to put yourself in a 1-1 position.
By the way, I think someone in chat just told me that it is MAME1 and not Wamone. I'm just gonna
Look, I'm
reset
gonna be
that.
very honest here, right? So we get team sheets, and on my team sheet it says Maimon.
MAME1.
Maimon, yes. So if it's incorrect, should have been filled that correctly. Yeah, you know,
Okay,
like
I will
how it
stay with
works.
MAME1.
So, yeah, so it's like W Maimon, but they never really pronounce that apparently. So, you know, I'm just gonna go with what they tell me. Maimon on the Genji, on the
Maimon.
defense. It will be VASTA coming out of the gates. No symmetric tricks, nothing fancy. Just going with the tried and true, and their execution on it has been very good. So VASTA is gonna go the long way around. You see Sauna again going around the back. They want to drag them off the high ground and then have Sauna be able to go for that well, snipe
exactly
here.
that.
Yeah.
That nice slice into Yoham, and that gives you a great advantage. Nipop knows that and takes down the second support, and now VASTA should be going in with a big aggression, and that's exactly what they're doing. No chance here for Stop Toxicity on the back of a very good set-piece battle, and like I said, and like you said, it's just the biggest strength here for VASTA Gaming. It's the experience.
And it's the repetition of the same executed play. You can see that he's ready for those set plays. We'll be able to capture point A, and now they're going into point B. No ultimates are even ready yet for either team. The biggest thing is going to be Abs with that amplification matrix. And they've been having great plays with that. If they can close out the map with that one ultimate, we're going to be A, impressed, but B, also, it's just going to look cool, because the first time forever, a fight won't be close with the blade.
Well, 2 minutes to go, and you know, still just one tick to be capped. This should go the way that we all expected. Kage is able to take that immortality fill out, but it's MAME1 going in there, and he is firing out with that blade. Alex with a nice double kill out there as well, and we do see Stop Toxicity stopping VASTA in this instance.
Maimon just the better blade there, and that's surprising. I mean, this is the only ultimate they were realistically going to get online, and they're able to clutch it out with that. And now Sauna and Stop Toxicity, similar old situations, 1.5 minutes. That's often how long these fights roughly take. So Sauna realistically only has one more good shot here at taking Volskaya, and otherwise we might go into a draw.
Stop Toxicity looking very good on the rest of the ult situation there as well. Good ult coming in, immediately followed by Kex's ultimate. The immortality field is able to save a lot of damage there from the VASTA side. Alex is able to actually fire Abs, and that means that VASTA, with one healer short and their biggest AoE healer down, might actually have to pull back for another shot here. 50 seconds on the clock, and it is looking good right now for Stop Toxicity.
It all comes down to this. It is Rocket and Skytor versus Kex and Nipahog, but Nipahog will have the ult advantage. That Gravitic Flux can make all the difference.
We do see Kage, nice double kill here on that Dynamite. Sauna coming in onto MAME1, and now Stop Toxicity in trouble. There is no more Supercharger, no more tank lineup, as Rocket and Sauna just fire it in, and with just one tick being needed to win, VASTA Gaming stop this from drawing out.
Yeah, they Stop Toxicity, and that feels weird to say. It's almost like they're supporting it, but at this point in time, we can just see that Sauna has that experience to consistently make those same plays. You see the pop-off from Maimon sometimes. You do see the good plays coming out from Skytor and Kex, but it's just not the same as VASTA consistently popping off as a unit. They're consistently executing all these plays as a team, and they're always getting the same minimum value. And that is really the difference in this game. The minimum value that these teams are able to get out of their executions. And it's not about the peaks. Like, Stop Toxicity goes from here to here to here to here. And while VASTA doesn't have completely pop-off plays all the time from one player, they're in the middle consistently, and then they go up a little bit. So their base level of execution is just higher.
And that's mostly team coherence and experience, I would say. So while we wait for these teams to, refill their water bottle and everything like that, don't go anywhere. We will be right back. We will be just throwing it to a bit of a break. Check out, of course, our other stream. Maybe they are still working or working yet again. And, stay true to us and come right back, please. And we are on. Hello and welcome back to the Contenders Trials Europe and Middle East. We have just seen the first couple of matches between VASTA Gaming and Stop Toxicity. Bloody hell, you have been doing me. I'm the Olimancer, with me, the man of class still. And I was wondering, Classy, what do you think about the two games we've seen so far? Even though VASTA on paper have taken the first two maps, surprised right now by the way this has been going?
Not at all. I think Stop Toxicity, by all accounts, is doing very well. Some might say better than expected. I don't want to go there because I think setting expectations for a team that is unproven is always a bit of a risk and a bit of a I wouldn't say a bad move, but if you set expectations for something you haven't seen happen before, then usually you're going to be proven wrong. So I think a lot of people that would have doubted Stop Toxicity have been proven wrong. VASTA might still win this series, but overall, I definitely think that there's a good chance that Stop Toxicity, at least, maybe they might even take a map, but at least they're still giving VASTA a good run for their money. VASTA's going to be starting on the defense here on Hollywoods, running with the exact same composition we've seen all day. We've seen one swap off that was from VASTA, but that was on Ilios a few maps ago, and right now they're just facing off in the standard, in the fundamentals, and it is VASTA that has had the better base level and is therefore executing more consistently.
That's right. We do see a little bit of a teleport move coming out of Stop Toxicity here. They elect to go down the stairs, but with that high ground firmly secured and a lot of poke damage coming out of it, it is quite difficult to get out of that hallway completely unscathed. We do see a nice accretion try here from Kex, trying to make sure that that high ground will not be an issue. And we see Main1 now going up the stairs, but immediately has to pull back. Very nicely done here. And we do see a good point control on the side of VASTA so far.
Maimon tries to go around the side with that Genji. Now all the team tries to get up there, but a good hold from Rocket stops that from happening temporarily. Now we see the high ground being taken over by the attacking of Stop Toxicity, and I like when the teams do that, because you want to be in that dominant position. Don't want to give that away to an Ashe or a Genji to flank you.
Now moving in, Alex finds that immortality field, and that should open up Stop Toxicity to find some kills. But the first one to find a kill is Nipperhawk, who is going on to Johan. That means Sona and Rocket have fair play, and that is immediately what they do. Main1 on the side of Kage, but right now VASTA in control of it. Just one tick given away, and Stop Toxicity back in spawn.
And that first fight was so indicative of Hollywood. Just the teams spinning around each other with that high ground, not being able to be caught by either of them. At some point they clash, and then it's all about who gets that first pick on a squishy, because that Ashe is almost never with the rest of their team. That's how Kage got picked off and the first thing got taken.
He got been picked off. Rocket was able to take Johan and immediately takes down Alex's Bob as well. And that means that you have, well, not only a missed opportunity to get a nice push in there, but actually an ultimate that did not come to full fruition.
And it's taken a while for teams to get back into that rhythm of amplification matrix and immediately following up with abilities or burst damage, because it's such a damage boost. Sana now with the blade is trying to get some follow-up here as well, but it looks like the Stop Toxicity was already giving up that fight. With 1 minute 40, it's going to be a tough one to still attack this. They will have ultimate advantage for this last one. Eventually, they'll be able to get on top of it. But 1 minute 30, once again, Sana and their team of VASTA Gaming are able to clean this one up with a blade and don't have to use that much.
Yeah, and regardless of what the kill feed says, actually Sona doing a lot of damage with that blade, even though only one of the kills at the end of the day gets accredited to him, or the last hit gets accredited to him. That blade was absolutely instrumental in taking down like 4 people in a single swab. And like you said, they didn't really have to invest a lot of it. Now Stop Toxicity going in via the sideline. They are not going to try and contest that high ground, and that means that that supercharger can just rage on from that high ground. Now Main1 though with the blade finds 1, finds 2, finds 3, and that could actually open this wide open. We see Main1 has to pull away from Alex there, has to pull away from Kage there, but Alex is there to take Sona down, and that means we have the cap, we have a running payload, and we're off to the races.
There is not much that opens the fight up better than a 3k Genji blade, and it's exactly what Maimon did. We've seen them make clutch plays here. They've definitely been the star and the jump out here on this Stop Toxicity roster. We have to see more plays like that from other players, but you do see that they don't even need that Gravitic Flux to set something like that up. That's really been the big difference between VASTA and Stop Toxicity, the way they set up their fights.
Yeah. Well, we will see how VASTA can work with this high ground setup, and whether or not it will be as effective as I expected from the first bit. Sona, though, already going down. Main1 was able to out-Genji Sona there on those sidelines, and that means VASTA has an issue when it comes to the pure damage output, and now the high ground should actually not matter anymore to them. Main1 jumping up there, trying to be as much of a nuisance as possible. Now VASTA jumping in, trying to look for that fight, and we do see Kex firing in the Graviton Flux. There was a little bit of an error right there. Well, was it a graphical issue? No, I think it was a ping issue. But Sona launches the blade. Never mind about what happened just now. What happened right after is that Johan and the Muffin already go down, and Sona and Abs are able to make sure that VASTA stop this payload short from reaching point 2.
Yeah, VASTA able to once again put a wrench in the plans of Stop Toxicity, but they do slightly get away from their general execution. Nipahog will now have a Gravitic Flux, but it won't have to be used to open up the fight for a Sauna Blade. That means that they can use it in a different way, and we haven't seen them do that before, and it might just disrupt the normal order of operations from VASTA that, you know, Stop Toxicity can capitalize on.
Well, we do see a nice Graviton Flux from Nipahog. That was a lot of damage coming out of there. Once again, being outsaved there by a bit of a immortality field that goes down at the end of the day. Main one coming in from the side takes down Kage. So once again, 1 DPS down, and that means the high ground should matter a lot less than it did. Skytor on the sideline finds ANJ, though Alex goes down immediately afterwards. Stop Toxicity now launching a lot of ultimates and a very, very aggressive push on towards that second point. 30 seconds on the clock. They know they have to, and they execute beautifully.
VASTA Gaming not able to stand up against it, and you saw it happen right there. They don't have that double ultimate combo to force out the immortality field and then go in. They use the Gravitic Flux, but it gets nothing. There's an immortality field in the way, and after that, what are they gonna do? They try to do something with Supercharger and the Amplification Matrix, but the setup wasn't there. And now they'll have the Blade, and again, nothing else to force that immortality field, so they'll have to do it the old-fashioned way and go all vanilla on it.
We'll see whether or not they will be able to get the vanilla all the way into the cake. Now, though, main one with another blade, but so is Sauna. And it's once again Jedi versus Jedi. Sauna takes 2, main one takes 2. And right now, it does look as if Sauna has at least taken the better picks with both Alex and Johan going down. But main one takes 1 more. And now it is 3 versus 6 as Stop Toxicity is inching ever closer.
Yeah, and they're still able to hold on to a few ultimates as well. They don't feel like they need to, and it's all about just tracking those ultimates from the enemy team. They know they don't need to invest because Sauna was the only one that was going to invest from the side of VASTA Gaming.
There we go, another Flux coming up from Kex, and that might be able to at least get a layup for the rest of the team, and it seems to be working like a charm. Main one with a double kill. There's the counter Flux on the other side. Sauna firing it into Kex there for a second, but it is Skytor who makes it open yet again as he takes down both Sauna and Rocket. Rocket now changing to the Hammond. He knows the writing is on the wall and wants to have the entirety of Stop Toxicity on the wall as well, but it's too late. The payload has been parked. Round 1 complete.
15 seconds on the clock, not a whole lot of time, but it is very normal for Hollywood to have these lower time banks when teams complete it. So not at all worried for Stop Toxicity, but VASTA is looking a bit weaker here and there. They are definitely looking like they have some trouble with Hollywood as a map. Their positioning looked like they thought that they were going to be good at those stages. They thought that high ground position on streets was good. They thought the high ground on point A was not as important, and they rotated off it a lot of times, and they couldn't capitalize on Stop Toxicity walking underneath them. They couldn't jump into them. They couldn't get the right off angles out, and that's really what Stop Toxicity has been doing better. They have been getting in these flank positions, especially Maimon. I mean, you saw it happen. Just got the assassination kill on the abs on that high ground of Saloon, and then later on just keeps doing the same thing. Maimon is truly alive in this series and seems to be better and better to walk around VASTA to get the value.
Well, I have to highlight a different player than main one, though. It's Kex. Kex has been absolutely instrumental in the way that Stop Toxicity have constructed their defenses and their attacks. The way that not only the Graphitic Flux, but the accretions have been landing, not only waiting for Skytor to hold something up, is just beautiful to see. And I would say, look at Kex. Kex is giving us a one-on-one on how to play a Sigma in a competitive situation. But right now, VASTA coming in from all the way from the other side. They're taking the long route around, and now they know they have to take Stop Toxicity on that high ground. There's a good hold accretion combination. situation. Alex is very low though and needs to be healed up for a second. VASTA moving in hard and moving in fast, and now could be an opening to immediately take that point all the way there. They're looking for that fight, going into that hallway straight away as the muffin goes down, and now collapse. VASTA collapse. They should and they do. Now moving in, Sauna takes down Alex, beautifully set up. The first stick very close to being set, and there it is. And Stop Toxicity have miscalculated the way that they have pulled back all the way back to that hallway, and the capture is real.
Very nicely done from VASTA Gaming. Once again, they're able to just dismantle that high ground hold. Stop Toxicity has to fall back behind the dumpsters and just cannot hold there. And now VASTA Gaming is on a very good trajectory to keep this pace up and get the cart rolling further through the map in, well, not a lot of time at all.
Well, you look at Stop Toxicity, they're not going for a high ground setup. They think that they should go as brawly as they possibly can in order to give Alex and Wemon the most value that they can possibly have. And I must say, I agree with that sentiment. There we go. Both of the amplification matrices are opposed to one another. Now Sauna, though, moving through that. It's main one with a triple kill, though, on the other side. He takes down 4. He's looking for more, even though Sauna had a very nice start to that blade and had the opportunity to make something happen. It's Stop Toxicity, and it's main one who stopped the payload, set it aside, and asked for the parking ticket. There we go.
Super well executed there. Maimon, I mean, they get so much value out of their blade consistently, but we don't often see that Sauna at the same time using a blade gets more value, and this time around, because of the respawns as well, that was the case.
We'll see whether or not they can keep up that pace. Sauna on the sideline finds Alex with a lot of poke damage, is already off the grid. There comes the Gravitic Flux, gets stopped by a great accretion though. Nipperhawk gets a rock in the face and is unable to take it all the way, but that doesn't matter to VASTA because Kage was there to do a lot of damage.
Kage, honestly, just starts to pop off more. Alex has been a great matchup, don't get me wrong. Like, that Ashe matchup 1v1 has gone very evenly, but it's still Kage that comes down on top on that time around. Alex will have the ball, but will they even get time to get out of spawn and use it?
I mean, we've seen Kage do some crazy stuff. Now, this time, Sauna coming out of the matchup and the Genji versus Genji all the way in the back line. And we do see Kage and ANJ just making sure that this is going to go smoothly. Sauna looking there for Kex. Finally finds him at the sideline. That's the cap. 4 minutes 40 on the clock. And I am not entirely sure that this time bank will be as close as the last time we had a time bank in the mix.
Yeah, so far, Sauna unstoppable on this map together with their team. Once again, VASTA Gaming. The reason why I keep saying Sauna first is because this team used to be called Sauna in the past, and I keep being confused because Sauna's back on the roster now. And I have some experience with Sauna Esports. Let's keep it at that. It's fair to say we will see, of course, maybe the culmination of this attack coming out very shortly, because with 4 minutes left, they don't even want to waste time. They just want to get it to the end. And Johan goes down first. That's a great start.
Oh, yeah. Even though that was, you know, once again instituted by Nipperhawk, who, sorry, not by Nipperhawk, by Kex, who was trying to get a Graviton Flux in there. Did some nice damage, but it's main one once again, finding Kage and ups in the backline, but this time being stopped by ANJ. Nipperhawk moving forward to take down Skytor, and right now, Stop Toxicity being spawn camped at least for a little while before Sauna finally bites the bullet. The payload moving in though, 5 versus 6, as we see Stop Toxicity waiting for their tanks to get back into position. And there it is, the stop. There's the hold from Skytor, and they are trying to make sure that this payload will not move in with a 3-minute lead. Now both of the amplification matrices in there. Sauna with the ultimate finds the muffin, finds Johan. No more healing on the side of the Stop Toxicity team, and it looks as if VASTA are asserting their dominance here. Kage and Nipperhawk close it out, and that's it. 3 minutes 48 on the clock, and that's a 2.5 minutes, more than 2.5 minute difference. Wow.
It's almost what you get to just cap point A in the first place. They basically lose 12 seconds. That's That's insane. That's just great. And honestly, they're just looking great to capture out this map and just win outright. Last time around, Stop Toxicity took about 3 pushes to get the first point. They don't have the time for that. Just like on Volskaya, they need to capture that point A and then make a very fast Streets phase. It's going to go into overtime regardless. I mean, you can cap point A, but by the time you've done it, it will be in overtime. And then it's all about how far do you get afterwards. The cameras are going to be pointed right at Stop Toxicity, as they'll be able to have one more shot on an attack, but it's looking very good for VASTA Gaming.
Yeah, VASTA Gaming already looking at the trophy in hand, thanking their manager and thanking God for the great opportunity. But we are not done yet, obviously. So, quick question to you, man of class. If you were on the side of Stop Toxicity, would you switch it up? Would you take the extra risk knowing that you need to be this fast? Or go for the tried and true and try to push it out as much as you can?
If I were on Stop Toxicity, I mean, this is really the moment where if you're gonna show anything differently, it would be here, but it's more likely they're gonna do that on their defense. Maimon will be going back over to that Genji shortly. They just use a teleporter out, and it's gonna be the tried and true. I think on the attack, they just want to run with that. It was working before, it was working on Volskaya, but they need to have a quicker attack this time around. They cannot afford to have 3 fights and then tap it, because they don't have the time.
Yeah, once again, they are trying to fight this low ground versus high ground rather than either trying to push it in or take over the high ground, or at least it doesn't look like it because they're very slow. Yoham already gets accretion to the floor. Kage on the other side takes down Skytor, and that means that Stop Toxicity is effectively back at the drawing board.
Yeah, with 20 seconds left, they don't actually have time to draw anything on that drawing board. Yoham will have the amplification matrix, but this could be the very last attack that Stop Toxicity has. And remember, if they lose this game, they're almost guaranteed to not make contenders, so that would be a blow to them.
Well, we will see whether or not the blow will actually come through. We see the ball rolling in as Skytor moves on. Maimon now under Doomfist, trying to make something happen, but there's Sorna. Sorna has the blade and is going to use it. Yoham already down. Immortality Field already down. Sorna closing the door. Kage with the bomb, firing it in. And it is Robot and Ninjas right away, closing it out. Overtime wig. And that should flip it over. So, unless Stop Toxicity can do a first point defense, not giving up a single tick for 3 minutes and 48 seconds. This is decided.
Yeah.
What are the odds?
Pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't bet on Stop Toxicity here personally, but it will be monumental hold if you're able to do this, and it's possible. But the way you have to execute it is by slowly seeping out these ultimates. You cannot overuse, and that means that VASTA will have, with 3 minutes 48, a very good chance of having 2 full ult banks. They can build up 2 full ult banks in that time and use them. And if Stop Toxicity can stop that, if they can stop such a barrage and overpowered resource bank, I don't know. I think it's looking so unlikely. Like, if this is correctly played by VASTA, there's no way they should lose this. And that would be a blow to Stop Toxicity. But of course, they are a newer team. They are a younger team. They might even have expected to get anywhere. But it's always good to go for that win, and they definitely will. So 3 minutes 48, Ollie.
Can I put your attention to the top left corner there for a second? Is Sorna trolling? Yeah. Or is he actually going for this?
No, they might go for this. So you go for the longer angle here. Sorna can be on that longer angle. And I mean, they have the time. Again, like, they can play whatever they want for 2 minutes, then swap off, and then still get a full ult bank before the time ends. It's more of a risk. But if Sorna can get even one pick, this is already worth it. Good hold.
Sorna was trying to jump up and over, but at that point, the hold comes and just puts you back down and takes you back to earth, just like a real Hollywood therapist would. Beautifully done. Kage on the sideline this time, playing the Genji. So they swapped the long and short range of it for a little bit. And now Sorna firing some pat shots from that little side hallway. VASTA, I'm not entirely sure whether or not they, are that confident, or whether or not they just want to try something else because they started to get bored. They're halfway done to the actual cap here, though. Now being pushed away is main one, and VASTA looking very good right now, looking like they are in a position to actually make that happen. Skytor not able to entrench themselves there, and that could end this all. Sona in a bit of a fight there versus Alex's Ash is able to at least get Johan with a nice flick shot out of it. Kage has the blade ready, moves it out. The capture should be very real. It is. And that is the breaks. Beautifully played by VASTA Gaming, beautifully played by both of these teams. I mean, I have to be perfectly honest with you. When we went in here, I thought, okay, I know VASTA. I know the full roster of VASTA. I'm not entirely sure of Stop Toxicity. I know we talked about that beforehand. So we had the angle on that. But Stop Toxicity comes in there, fires it in, and gives them an actual run for their money. I know it doesn't look like it on paper, but they definitely did, and I was thoroughly entertained.
Oh yes, and Stop Toxicity is going to be a team that we're going to be seeing more this week as well. So if you're a fan, don't worry, there'll be more streams of Stop Toxicity on this very channel. Right now, though, we're gonna have to talk about VASTA, because of course they are the team that gets the win here. They're the team that still have that potential to get into contenders. Yes, Stop Toxicity can mathematically still make it. It's not out of possibility, but it's looking rough with 2 losses on the board. You only have 4 games this week.
Yeah.
Did I say that correctly? No, yeah, 5 games this week. So, but if you're already almost on a 50% loss streak for your total, then it's not looking great. There's a lot of teams that can end up above you that way. That being said, though, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do. VASTA, though, they're the ones that are going to continue and show that they don't need facility in order to win games here and to potentially get to contenders. Of course, some of their tougher challenges may still be yet to come, but for now, we can be rest assured that they're at least up in the leaderboard. And we're going to be talking to one of their players soon to see what they have to say about that. We'll throw it to a quick break, and when we come back, it'll be that interview.
Yep. Stay tuned, because we will have some interesting questions for VASTA. And we are straight back with the after interview after the game. VASTA Gaming versus Stop Toxicity. Now, VASTA Gaming, for those who have just tuned in, have taken the series 3-0, even though it was a well-fought series. And telling us all about that right now is the main tank for VASTA, Mr. Rocket himself. Rocket, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
That's fantastic. Well, I'm going to ask you the most standard question that you have had asked before. What's your favorite color? No, I'm just messing. How are you feeling after that match?
Pretty chilled out. It was pretty like relaxed gaming. Maybe a bit shaky at times, but well, I couldn't really can't say that. It was very solid gameplay all around. Props to the enemy team. They were pretty okay and certainly caught us off guard at times, but we were doing pretty well. Good gaming and a solid trio.
Okay, good to hear. Obviously, you know, you've had ASMR Esports yesterday, Stop Toxicity today. Would you say that your toughest matches are still to come?
Yes. Warm-up matches are done now. Now the real fun begins.
Okay. Any particular team that we have to keep in mind for that?
Well, Sheer Cold especially is probably the strongest team of this group. Very excited to play against them in an official. Excited to play against Angry Titans as well, as they took our Flex DPS Prodigy Visibility. So we will show them that why he made the wrong decision in the upcoming days.
So, asking about that, playing this game without Visibility, and then coming up against a very strong Genji like Main 1, was he actually missed, or you think that it wasn't as big of a deal?
It wasn't as big of a deal. We have our Flex God Sona. He's transferred smoothly from Flex DPS to Hitscan and back to Flex DPS. That boy is young, has so much talent in him, and I'm very excited to play with him. And I have no issues at all that he's playing with. We're not playing with Visibility.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Of course, you know, as a Dutch person, I was very sad to see VASTA without Visibility, and I was at Angry Titans, and I was like, I'm sure that's gonna, cause problems here and there. But of course, you have that going on that we're even in the same group with them. You know, if they would have been in the other group, different story. But you say you're very excited about the match against Sheer Cold. Are you prepping specifically for Sheer Cold, or are you just prepping your fundamentals? What are you working on?
I think this meta is mostly about fundamentals, that you play your neutral game well, you get the first white fin, and then you roll with ultimates and do good plays with those. So it's more about the fundamentals, getting the team synergy together, and we just play our own game as a classic sports interview answer would be.
Now, let's be quite frank here for a moment. Looking at the group and the way it has been set up so far, it would be hard pressed to say that you are the absolute favorite on that list. But do you think you can go all the way in this split?
We will take. Well, I'm confident about against every team, even Sheer Cold. Good conditions apply. We go 5-0.
Oh wow.
Okay.
That's some confidence right there. Okay. There must be something in that Finnish water that makes you say that. And if so, send me a couple of bottles.
It's just a sisu.
fantastic. Now I'm going to let you go and celebrate your victory, unless Man of Class has something else to say about that.
No. I think that's a perfect way to end it on. It. Finnish water has magic in it, and I think everyone should move to Finland, or at least import it. You know, it's apparently the way to go. Rocket, thank you very much for the interview. Have a very fun day with the rest of your team, and of course, good luck in the rest of the matches. And we'll see you around. Thanks for this.
Yes, and for all the ladies and gentlemen viewing, watching, or listening out there, don't worry, we have some Overwatch coming your way in just a few minutes as we have an 01 Esports, the upstart from Saudi Arabia with a very strong start versus former Team Teebeutel and keine Ahnung in a couple of minutes when we come back at 9:30 Central European. So don't run anywhere. Don't run anywhere, and we will be back with the next one on our daily schedule. Hey, and we are back with game 2. Well, actually, game 1 of the second matchup for today in the Contenders Trials Europe and Middle East, and we are bringing you Europe versus Middle East straight away as O1 Esports from Saudi Arabia take on keine Ahnung, a mostly, if not all, a German team. I'm the Olabatza. With me is the man of class and classy. We have talked about this for just a little bit between those maps, but I am absolutely unsure of what to expect. Talk us through these teams, please.
Of course. Well, keine Ahnung, formerly known as Tebolten, came in from Open Division just like O1 Esports did. They made it a bit further, though. They had a very close winners bracket finals against Angry Titans, and then due to fatigue, it didn't quite work out for them in the lower bracket finals anymore, but they obviously still made it to third place in that tournament, a bit further than O1 Esports got, so they should be considered the favorite when it comes to that. But as we saw yesterday, O1 Esports not a team to be trifled with. Morning Stars had quite a bit of trouble dealing with them, at least on their first control map, and then afterwards we're able to claw it back, we're able to get on top of the situation and deal with O1 Esports as a unit. But that still doesn't mean this is a clear-cut victory condition here for keine Ahnung. They look like the favorites, but O1 Esports has that potential to throw a few curveballs at them in either different compositions, different play styles, or just in general by outplaying keine Ahnung on what they want to do.
Well, and speaking of curveballs, I know that the DPS lineup for keine Ahnung, aka or Teebeuteln, or however you want to call them, will throw you a couple of curveballs because they play some interesting DPS matchups. I think yesterday we saw a lot of Torbjorn, especially from Trust Me. I know that he is known for playing that, but you know, what else is there in the bag of tricks that we can expect?
Yeah, it's mostly Trust Me going over the Torbjorn and sometimes the Mei. I'm personally very sad that we're not going to see we are going to see Volskaya, but we're not going to be seeing Anubis because their defense on Anubis is just a sight to behold. It's such a nicely oiled machine, and as long as their Kiam Baptiste doesn't get picked off, they should usually be able to hold on pretty well there. But right now, going to be starting, of course, on Ilios, a map that has been a very new transition for a lot of teams. You know, we've seen Pharah work out very well here. We've seen just a standard work out very well here in the last series. Just now, we saw VASTA come out with a Reinhardt Diva, Reaper Genji, Moira Lucio anti-dive rush composition. Yeah. And just completely take over the Ruin stage. So there is more variety. We usually see that on control points, but both of these teams are going to show us what they do on Ilios, because we haven't seen it from them yesterday. We will from them today.
Yeah, no, that's right. And speaking of using that Pharah on Ilios, when I checked into yesterday's broadcast, and it was just 5 or 10 minutes all in all, I saw Goku just playing a Pharah that was top-notch. That was absolutely fantastic. So I'm looking forward to seeing whether or not we can expect the Pharah yet again. On Ilias, definitely. On Volskaya, that's also a valid pick. But once we go deeper into the current map pool, is that a valid choice on, for instance, Hollywood?
It's on Hollywood, it might still work, especially on the first point. You can get a lot away with, but with those long sight lines, the Ashe usually will have a good sight line on you, or whatever hit scanner or anything you like to pick in that situation. It's really all about how much momentum can O1 Esports establish for themselves with that Pharah pick that teams seem to have trouble with. In the interview with Samsung yesterday, we got the word from their players that they didn't quite know how to deal with Pharah as well as they maybe wanted to. And of course, since not every team plays it, it's mostly in this group that there's a few teams that like to play Pharah a lot, under which is O1 Esports, but also, of course, Avoided with Yesen. That you might have to take that into account. You might have to scrim for that. And who are you going to scrim aside from those teams that probably don't want to scrim you because they don't want to give away those tactics? So that's it's one of those things. On Ruins, where we're going to be starting, though, I don't expect that Pharah to come out. It's a lot harder to make work, and usually teams will just opt to go for more of the tried and true, maybe a dive scan. It's all possible. and we're going to see what they're going to run out very soon. But both these teams down 0-1. This match matters a lot. The winner of this will keep their hopes alive, while the loser is very likely not to make it to contenders this time around.
Wow, what a shout out, and what a we call that setting a scene, and that was absolutely perfect. Well done. So we're starting on the ruin setup, the experimental part of the Ilias map set. We've said that in the first game already, and I am looking over the first little bit of picks. I know that can change a lot in the next 20 seconds, but Edis, and trust me already, Widowmaker in combination with a Torbjorn, I think they might have a bit of an issue actually getting their foot on a point with Yubi and Goku picking as they have. What are your predictions on this one?
4, 3, 2.
I mean, predictions are always hard to have, but I do see Edis going over to that Widowmaker. It's, of course, Widowmaker's playground. That's what Runes is known as. And Edis is a very serviceable Widowmaker at the very least. Almost gets that shot on better. And Goku is on that Pharah. That pharmacy does come out, which is not going to have that much to hide behind, but there are a lot of pillars.
That's right, and if you can pressure that Widowmaker, then the Pharah will absolutely just be a force to be reckoned with. We already see them killing that Torbjorn turret. Nice accretion there in the backline as Trust Me sets up a new turret there. And now we see the first kill. Edis finds Yubi all the way from the backside and is looking for Goku, looking to try and get an angle going there. The better is able to res Yubi for a second. Now it's Josh on the other side in that Sigma versus Sigma setup, and both of the teams are going to try for that first contention. And right now it is looking very good for 0-1 Esports there. The only one who is able to get some money value back is Edis, as Boulder and M5R are taking it back and are taking it for 0-1 Esports.
0-1 Esports so far looking like the team that has control. Edis not able to hit those shots, and Goku on the Pharah has always been that force to be reckoned with. But what we don't often see is that, what we do see that usually Yubi gets so much space because there's so much focus onto Goku that Yubi is often the one that just pops off.
That's right, and now we have a push in there. The window of opportunities there, the amplification matrix. Now moving in there is keine ahnung. They're trying to move 0-1 Esports away from that little bit of the high ground ledge, but it is Goku and Macabre, actually, is the name of M5. If I look at the team sheet, and they are making sure that they can earn their bacon straight away. 0-1 Esports not giving an inch of ground as Yubi takes a double kill onto them. 50% on the clock right now, and it looks as if AKA have their hands full right now.
Yeah, Baldir today, and on the main tank yesterday was Beckenbauer, so different player, and this should be their set main tank. This should be the one that they're most practiced with. And look at this. You see the complete flank coming out from Trust Me here. This is the position with the turret. That's going to be a lot to deal with for Mikurba.
Trust Me, looking for that immortality field, is able to find it. Edis coming in a bit closer than I think they wanted to be, and gets punished by Goku. And there we go, the barrage is out, but so is the Molten Core onto the point. Goku goes for 3, finds the 4th, and actually that is a jump trick by Exo. That is not going to be repeated, but Exo pulls Bordia with him just to spite them. Beautifully done. 96% here on the clock, and 0-1 Esports looking very, very good in this first round as the overtime wick is coming round. Now though, Bob coming out on the side of 0-1 Esports. Yubi trying to keep that point clear, is able to get Law out of this setup, takes the triple kill. Overtime wick is running out, no one able to touch it on the side of keine ahnung, and the first round handily goes to 0-1 Esports in a 100-0 set.
And on Widowmaker's playground, you don't see Pharah being dominant as much as you see there. Goku getting all the space they need, and it's all off the back of the tanks on the front line being able to give that space as well. So Baldir and is just doing a great job of holding that out. You saw Exo being under a lot of pressure there. Yeah, honestly, I really don't know what. Well, I do know. Like, I really don't see a way that that keine ahnung would have been able to win that without getting that far out of the sky. And there's multiple things you can do. Of course, you have to play the hit scanner to try and get that going. You can play a diva to deny some more damage. But what they really should have done is not put Trust Me that far behind the enemy line and get 0 value. Because you saw it. They were waiting for Trust Me to be in position and go in on a molten core play. But by that time, that fight had already erupted. Owen Esports was already in their front line, was already almost in their spawn. That's how far forward they were. And then Trust Me is just from the other map yelling to their team, guys, are you ready yet? Guys? Hello? And no one paid any attention to him. Like, that molten core essentially did nothing because Goku's triple kill on the other side of the map was already getting all the value it needed.
Yeah, that was an interesting turn of events, let's put it that way. Trust me, able, like you said, on that bridge, ready to fire it in. No one even close to them, and they fire in that ultimate. Anyway, was that a term of miscommunication, you think, or good faith in the rest of their team?
I think they truly wanted to go out for a play, but it was Owen Esports just taking the initiative. Like, they wanted to move in further, use that molten core in the backline on the point, and then all of a sudden there was no backline on the point because they were, again, way too far forward. So Trust Me wasn't necessarily out of position, but the execution was just not able to be made. It took too long to set up. And for those wondering, by the way, we're in a little bit of a pause. Unfortunately, we have to wait for the teams to be back ready again. Sometimes you have some big issues, sometimes something else happens. So we'll get back into the action as soon as we can. So of course, don't go anywhere. You know, it's not like we're gonna go anything, because the player seems to be back fairly shortly. Of course, we just had Ruins. Gonna be 2 more stages, and if you're gonna be, if you're gonna beat O1 Gaming, O1 Esports here, you know, as keine ahnung, you kind of wanted to do it on Ruins. Because Ruins is the map where the Pharah should be the weakest out of the 3. There you go to Well, where Pharahs have been running rampant ever since the start of Overwatch as a game. It's not looking great for you.
Well, I have to be honest, right? I mean, I know Edis as a player, and I know that Edis has the potential to really pop off and actually carry a team with a host of DPS choices, a host of DPS picks that would be viable for him to actually play. But I think that Widowmaker in this situation may have been a bit optimistic, let's put it that way. But let's leave that to rest as we jump in on to the Well a bit. We already see Goku up in the sky, pelting a couple of shots in as keine ahnung come around the corner, try to take as much advantage of that cover that they can find in that little side room, and making sure that they can touch that point. Now, both of the Orissas, both of the double shield setups on here near that well, like you should have that. So Goku has the potential of firing a lot of damage and getting that barrage quite early, Classic.
Oh, EXO completely split from their team, almost go down, and that gives all the space they need to take that first point control on O1 Esports' side. Get Josh as well. It looks like a great start from O1 Esports. Goku goes in, maybe a bit too deep though.
Ooh, Goku does go a bit too deep. Yubi was able to capitalize on a little bit of a setup, but right now, keine ahnung coming back with a vengeance, and that should be the counter cap though. He is able to get himself out of trouble after being halted by Baudia. EXO, not so lucky, of course, but this time 23%, and this is the first flip right there. And now keine ahnung in a good position to actually hold it for a little while, because if there's one thing you can't do with a Pharah, it's contesting a point.
Exactly, going back in on attack with this Pharah is always the hard part. You do have the ult advantage being handedly in their favor though, so they could quickly flip it, and they just made a mistake. They had all the advantage, and they just made a mistake by going in too deep. Goku does get Trust Me early, their biggest counter out of the way, and now they can set up for the barrage after they take down Edis with almost 2 directs.
Wow, that was interesting. Look at that sky fight though. Edis firing it back valiantly, but remember, Goku has that Mercy in the back line, and that's the barrage, and that's that double kill. Going to look for more, but the main tank and the off support already down takes Edis just for good measure with the help of Immo, and that is just the counter cap that we were expecting and waiting. So now O1 Esports once again in the driver's seat.
Goku, this is not enough pressure they can put on him. Trust me, even gets taken out as on the Tracer, who should be evasive enough. Right now, though, you've had that first fight with an ultimate disadvantage. This should be the place where keine, ahnung has made the rotation. Trust me, goes over to the Widow, almost gets that spawn kill on Goku. It was still their spawn when they made that shot. But they will still get away with their lives. And they're going to stick on this Widowmaker, which, I mean, it can work, but you have to stay far away to not be picked off.
Trust me, this time not on a Torbjorn, probably knowing that it won't do a lot. Immo, nice accretion coming out of that ultimate. That is what I call a combo right there. Yubi with a double kill on the sideline. He's able to use a lot of cover, but it's now firing into Trust Me, trying to go for that duel. At the end of the day, Goku comes and capitalizes on that as well. 74% and counting. And Goku and Yubi are absolute game changers here as they basically let the rest of O1 Esports ride the wave on this. I'm not saying they have it easy. I'm just saying that they are doing a lot more damage than their counterparts right now.
Yeah, Trust Me gets the kill to Yubi, though. That's a good opener, and the rest might be able to come in. But if it's not, then that's a great start to this fight, at least. There goes Goku as well.
Edith is able to laser Goku out of the sky. The overtime wick is already running, and now it is looking like a counter cap because the entirety of O1 have to pull back and have to pull back hard. Edith also has that duplicate for the next push, so could be able to set up something like a double DPS if wanted. Yubi is able to fire onto Edith from a bit of an alpha angle there, but immediate rest from Lyolor. Well done, well played. And Goku now looking for more targets. Is in a fight versus Trust Me, almost able to save themselves there, but that was just a bit too easy for Goku to track it down. Edith has that Orisa and has that power, has that Bongo already out there, is able to actually use it for a couple of seconds, but O1 turns around, kills him, and kills the Supercharger ultimate.
So far, it's all about the DPS on O1 Esports' side. Goku gets taken out by EXO here, but it's already too late. Too many have fallen. Too many are not able to come back in time. And this first point, this first map, seems to be able to go over to O1 Esports without much of a contest. There it is. O1 gonna take that win. And it's really, again, it's all about those DPS. We saw it yesterday when they were playing against Morning Stars. As soon as Morning Stars are able to challenge Goku and Yubi to, well, a consistent degree, the tank battle, the support battle is usually won out by them. And if keine, ahnung want to win this game, they need to start doing the same thing. They need to at least go even with Goku and Yubi, and then win that frontline battle with their tanks and not let their supports die. That's what this matchup is all going to be about. That's what it's going to decide. And yesterday we saw that after Control, that was exactly what Morning Stars were able to do. And now it's up to keine, ahnung to get O1 Esports in the exact same direction.
Yeah, keine Ahnung shouldn't be too disheartened by this first thing, because Control is the odd one out. We all know that, and we've seen it a million times where the control point is very handily won by the more brawly team, and then on the second you do see an epic turnaround, just because the set piece battles get a lot more interesting and a lot more valuable, I would say.
Yeah, I totally agree with that one. And of course, when we go next into other map types, that's always going to be the case. Control is that chaos, is that place where Pharah does usually find more value because everything is closer together. People are more be more pushed apart within a smaller space. And usually as a Pharah, you're able to get more spam damage, get more barrages up, and it's harder for Hitscan to really get that proper angle on you, to get a proper setup either on attack or on defense. So yeah, meaning that we go into the next map, that might change a lot. The teams are currently figuring out what they're going to do server-wise. Apparently one of the players on O1 Esports has a bit of a ping issue, so we'll see if we can fix that for them. Otherwise, it's just, might have to deal with that. So I think we're going to just throw to a short break. Otherwise, might be sitting here for a while talking about that. We'll be right back with you after that.
Exactly, and when we return, we will, of course, once again talk about what we just saw, but also what we can expect from the next couple of rounds, because I don't believe either of these teams have shown us their full potential just yet. So stick around, and we will be back as soon as we can after this short break. And we are back quicker than we expected. This is not a commercial channel, so no commercials on this channel. No, I'm just messing with you. We are back. The teams have been able to figure out their issues as far as we know, and we jump straight into the second map of this matchup, Volskaya Industries. Now, I said we would talk for a second about what we saw earlier, and we would definitely talk about what we are about to see. So I'm throwing it over to my man of class to explain to us what we saw and what we can expect next.
Well, we saw DPS dominating. I think that's really what it all came down to. Just Goku and Yubi having so much freedom, and Edis and trust me, not being able to match up with that was either compositional or just in general, just mechanical skill that sometimes came back to bite them. But so far, that has been just the game of O1 Esports, right? You know, you throw out Goku and Yubi, and as long as they get value, you're fine. And going into Volskaya Industries, I expect that trend to continue. The big difference is, because we're on Volskaya Industry, which is a 2CP map, you can properly set up a defense. You can properly prepare an attack against static defense. You don't have the whole, oh, we only have 2 minutes, or oh, they already have ultimates, or oh, there's this project in the middle that we both have to fight about. It's not as chaotic. You can be more thoughtful about what you do. And we saw yesterday when Morning Stars was up against O1 Esports, they were able to start winning these maps that aren't control, ended up with a 3-1. So keine ahnung could very much come in the same position, and the community agrees. Community thinks that keine ahnung would win this game against O1 Esports. Out of 46 responses that we got within our trials community, we had a 60.9% win rate, at least a win chance coming out of them. So though that many people think that O1 Esports shouldn't win, but it's still closer. A lot of these results that we got on these polls are a bit more decisive. So this being 40-60 is very indicative of what we've seen so far.
Well, now that we have a bit more of a setup kind of thing, there's another thing I want to point out on the side of keine ahnung, the tank lineup. Exo and Charge, very well known in the DACH community as a great combination of tanks. They are very good at defensive setup battles, and especially in this double shield meta, they should thrive absolutely wonderfully. And we will see whether or not they can actually do that as we see O1 moving into the first choke.
It does look like keine ahnung is choosing to go with that Mercy Echo setup. Mercy, of course, being able to damage boost both the Ashe and the Power, and that goes for both teams. Ashe can also get some shots on there, as well as Echo with those damage boosts now, or the Power, of course. Goku on the attack, going for a far angle, and yeah, keine ahnung, they're set up for it. They know exactly where they want to rotate to when that Power comes out.
Well, we will see what will happen. Trust me, coming in from all the way around the other side, going for a big flank. That's a good sticky grenade right there. Is not able to fully commit to that, needs to pull back because there's not enough push from the rest of keine ahnung. O1 Esports right now, though, is very much scattered all over that first point. Now they are slowly moving forward, but it is Charge who takes down Goku, and now things should go the way that they wanted to. O1 Esports trying to make something happen. Charge with a nice double kill, and Imo and the Imo is able to get Trust Me out of the sky. Meanwhile, we see a rest onto Goku, who is now going for Lyolaw very, very sneakily, and just making sure that there is nothing that can actually get you out of that A point from the high ground. Beautifully played here by Goku, but it looked hairy for a second. There's the cap.
We see it happen so often. You take down a DPS and then the Mercy gets the res, and you don't cancel the res out. You manage to kill that Mercy, and then Goku is still in the fight. It was nicely played from O1 Esports. They had to go a bit quicker, and you do see that these DPS on the side of keine ahnung want to take the fight to them. They want to be a bit more aggressive, a bit more flanky. Trust Me is a player that loves doing it. It didn't work out on Ilios Ruins. They're looking to work out here as Yubi takes a focus beam to the face.
Trust Me with a nice beam, like you said. UB down. That means a lot of issues usually for O1, but immediately the rest is coming out there. And now Trust Me coming in from that sideline yet again, goes for the copy and goes for the Baptiste, actually. I don't know if that was the intended target right now, but it could mean that there is a little bit more hit scan coming in from their side right away, as trust me, is just moving on to the parking lot, making sure that a lot of the O1 people need a while before they can get towards point B. 4 minutes on the clock.
Plenty of time to go still for O1 Esports, and plenty of ultimates to go with. Trust me, under a lot of fire here, almost gets taken out, falls into the icy waters with the courtesy of Goku. And with that gravitic flux set up the barrage ready, this could be a huge play.
Oh, wow. Yubi able to capitalize on the back of that. But that gravitic flux and almost immediate kill on that immortality field was just so well coordinated by O1. And that means that we are very close to an actual cap. Now Chot on the ball, trying to make something happen. The same thing goes for EXO, but both of them going down handily as Goku was able to fire a barrage in, and then it's just cleanup duty. Round 1 is complete, and the time bank is huge.
3.5 minutes is plenty of time to get another good attack in, but of course, keine ahnung has to go on their own attack, and we know that they can do this. We know that they're not a bad team. You know, their open division results speaks for themselves, but the problem is that we're getting into this place where it almost feels like the avoided syndrome. You know, we call it the avoided syndrome, the Clockwork Vendetta syndrome, the place where you play against a team that doesn't do the standard meta stuff, the team that doesn't play something you're usually scrimming against. And when you are keine ahnung, you're really being put into a place where you have to react to O1 Esports playing a off-meta pick very well. And that's usually a place where a team doesn't want to be. You see keine ahnung consistently having to adapt to it, and they're just not able to do it quickly enough. They don't have that quick adaptation skill that Samsung Morning Stars was able to pull out yesterday.
That's right, and it looks like keine ahnung are getting the full, console Overwatch experience, because Goku has just been incredibly hard to hit and incredibly difficult to deal with, and that is partly because of the beta, and partly, of course, because if you focus everything on Goku, Yubi will take you apart, and vice versa. So it's the way that they set up their angles from start to finish on both the attack and the defense so far has been impeccable. We'll see how that will change when the payload comes into the mix, but for now, keine ahnung have their work cut out for them.
It's time for some halt hook shenanigans with the Torbjorn and the McCree. Plenty of hit scan and tools to get some picks and get them quickly. If you want to win that frontline battle, I'm not quite sure if this is the way to do it, but it's definitely something new when you're adapting. Kiem, though, not going to be too happy about that one. That's a big shot in the face.
Ooh, yes, it is. And now it is coming in from both sides for keine ahnung, as O1 Esports just take them and put them in a sandwich press.
I've never seen a more fitting name for a team, because the composition they're running out with truly just seems like they have no idea. I mean, yes, McCree and Torbjorn are fine heroes, but especially the Roadhog pick is just so questionable, because Roadhog hasn't been meta since when? Like, it's been so long since we've seen the Pigman actually find value played by anyone other than like a god like Choyobin in Overwatch League. You know, someone that just can really pull it out. And this is just, I don't know if this is the place. I mean, you're trying something here, but again, it just seems like they don't really know how to deal with anything on this far side.
Well, I mean, I have to say, I'd rather have them try something than, try and stick to the tried and true and fail regardless. So we'll see whether or not it will bring them something. No charge already, swapping back to that tried and true Sigma, the character that actually had some proper value for him. Kiem once again going down, and I must say I'm not entirely sure if the Ana pick is the right thing to keep your team alive here when you have so much splash damage from both sides coming at you. 2 minutes on the clock here, and we do see keine ahnung moving towards the choke yet again.
Yeah, it is coming out with a high noon, trying to get an angle on that pharmacy, but they are hiding far away. That at least means there's some space to move up, but immediately so much pressure on that front line. Goku hiding in the bunker now, but we'll have to wait for a bit longer before they can get that barrage out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he's going to try and fly over the house as soon as AKA are going to commit. We'll see how that's going to work. There's the Nano McCree. Doesn't really find a lot of value right there. And we do see Emo with a very nice Gravitic Flux taking AKA up a couple of notches, but not in a good way. And that falls apart quickly.
Yeah, and because they swapped those tanks out so late, especially Josh, they're just not going to have any ultimates to work with for a while. Yes, they're gonna have an ultimate advantage now, but it's still Goku with the barrage that's just been able to clean up. There's nothing on their side that they're working with that really shows they can deal with the Pharah so far, and Edis is just not in their element today. I know they can. We all know they can deal with a Pharah like this, but they're just not pulling it out today.
Well, Goku very low, but immediately gets helped out by the Beta yet again. Still has that barrage up and ready, but does not really have either the opportunity nor really the need to put themselves in harm's way, I was about to say. But trust me, would disagree as he jumps all the way in there and clears the side lane. And now could be the right moment. Is completely off angle and has the opportunity to maybe move in unseen for now. Imu fighting versus charge here on that point. Yubi and Goku just fired in with standard shots. There goes the supercharger, and it's 15 seconds on the clock, and this looks very full holdy.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw Samsung be able to deal with it yesterday, but keine ahnung is not trying to employ any of what they were trying to do. Keine ahnung, right now, you're just down 2-0, and there's no hope. It just doesn't seem like there's anything that they have in their pockets that can even come close to competing with O1 Esports. A 3.5-minute time bank after 2 points, and you're not even getting a tick on point A. That is a devastating loss.
No, that is right, and I absolutely agree with you. However, I'm going to stick with my statement. I am not entirely sure how this will play out once a payload comes into the mix. On the one hand, you can expect Goku to find more targets, because targets will be, you know, more or less clumped around the payload in most cases, unless you want to C9 it, of course. On the other hand, giving you that payload gives you extra cover, gives you extra opportunities, gives you an extra way of flanking as well, due to the fact that you can do some unexpected things, which is one person on a payload, and all that, all those tactical and strategic thinking comes into play at that point. And I do think if we look at the strategic setups, keine ahnung can still take the cake.
Yeah, so what we saw happen to O1 Esports yesterday when they played against Morning Stars is that Morning Stars adapted by not quite mirroring it. They went with the Echo and then with the Mercy as well. Like we saw keine ahnung try that. But the biggest part about that is that they were still also running the Brigitte on defense a lot of the time, or the Baptiste. Like they kept on running with the same support and tank lineup. Their core was consistently playing very well, and their core is able to hold on to a lot of what they were usually do in their normal playstyle. So if that core playstyle isn't quite there for a team like keine ahnung, if they're not able to do that, and they're also a team that relies on their TPS to pop off, then O1 Esports is a nightmare to play against. And it seems so far that that's what's happening. Edis and Trust Me aren't usually the players that make something happen, even if they don't get a lot of space from their tanks. And right now, the tanks, the supports, they're basically a non-factor. It is just Goku that flies in, is completely uncontested, and then even if they don't get a kill on the Trust Me or Edis, you still have Yubi just popping off, because both DPS are just looking at the Pharah on the other side. So it is just... Edis and Trust Me have to step it up. Like, very simply put, as long as they're not going to be able to hit that Pharah whatsoever, or the tanks are not able to win the frontline battle while that's going on, or help out with killing the Pharah enough, this is just going to be a 3-0. And it's very harsh to say that, but at this point, you've shown that you're such a consistent team on the side of keine ahnung. There's been no patch change. You've done very well in OD. You got a 7-map, almost a win against Angry Titans, and then coming out with this performance just feels like it's not their day. It's not just they playing against O1, they just seem off.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe they have lost the power to win when they lost the power of the, the tea utensils that they were named after earlier. I don't entirely know how to put that more politically correct, but that's my setup right there.
Yeah.
So while we are thinking of beverages, our stream team is showing us some nice drinks. I'm not sure there's tea in any of them, but I'm sure we can all use a stiff drink after what we've witnessed up to now. And I am still of the firm conviction that keine ahnung can pull this back.
I mean, anything is possible. I mean, that's why it's Overwatch, and you do see, trust me, they go over to the May. Now, every time the Torbjorn hasn't worked out, they go to Plan B, which is the May. And on Hollywood, there aren't a lot of hard chokes that the wall will completely shut you out of. But that being said, the May can still do a lot. They can have a lot of control, and as long as, trust me, maybe now has decided to just go to the front line, help out their tanks and win the battle that way, and just ignore Goku in the sky largely. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe that's the way you win this, by not trying to go off on your own and deal with those DPS.
Well, we will see. I know Trust Me's May from the from the Dach community, of course. I've seen a lot of that being flown around, and that worked usually pretty well. But again, you are fighting Yubi and Goku here, and we have seen that these DPS are just firing all the way through whatever you put behind that double shield. Goku moving in there with a lot of splash damage, already forcing the high ground to be cleared out. Almost cleared out, I need to say, because Edis and Short just put the pressure up there. And now keine ahnung in a good position to actually take this back a couple of notches, because the better should not be able to get the res off, but does.
Yeah, right now we are going to see a beautiful hold so far from the side of keine ahnung. Goku not able to get as much value on the far just yet. The Bob already out from Edis. They're able to do some damage, finally coming into their own.
We'll see what's going to happen. Lyolor looked like they were in a little bit of trouble, but he's able to catch themselves. Now Edis catches a rocket off on the far side, and that means Goku has the freedom to just fly around the point and make sure that there's a lot of damage is being done. Trust me, on the other side, finds Bordia. Now Goku with that barrage finds a target, finds a second target without it, and is able to start that capture. The only one still up there is EXO, and EXO is unable to divide their attention between three people, and this should get the payload rolling.
Yeah, this is going to be a, well, once again, a fight win coming out there for O1 Esports on the back of a play from Goku. Not at all surprising, but it is looking more promising for keine ahnung. So far, they haven't been completely rolled. They won that first fight, and they're still in a good position to now abuse these high grounds to give the Pharah of Goku a lot of trouble.
Well, with a bit of luck, they can actually entrench themselves right here. It looks like that's what their play is, because they're running the supercharger. We do see that the Blizzard is ready as well. So as long as you can at least take one of the DPS out, you should be, as the kids say, Gucci.
Blizzard is out. And doesn't quite freeze anybody, but it does lose a lot of CC and push them out of position. There's the freeze on Aimo. That's the kill that they needed. And this is a fight win here for keine ahnung, completely ready for that first push. And now that they're able to hold this choke and almost at their spawn, this Pharah of Goku is going to have nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Very nicely done, keine ahnung in a position. I'm not quite sure where that res comes out. You're next to your spawn. That's weird. The better might have to have thought the better of that, next time around. But
well, maybe it's just strategy or a bit of overconfidence at this point. There we go. That's the ultimate that we've been waiting to see. The graphitic flux very hard onto Imo there for a second, but once again, Immortality Field was there. Bowder and Goku find their targets, and now it is moving in. The May wall actually walling off EXO there for a second as Charge gets shotgunned by Yubi. Goku trying to go and demolish that backline and make sure that they win as much space for their team as they possibly can. Kian needs to survive this, otherwise it takes a long time for keine ahnung to actually get back into a cohesive unit and make something happen. But Goku pulled back there just in time, so it does look like there is no panic yet.
Yeah, it will now be this setup here for, once again, Owen Esports on the high ground, where this is where they want to be. Well, they don't necessarily need to be there themselves, but they just don't want kind of ahnung to be there. They have the shield to fall back on, but Edis already falls down.
That's right, Goku has that barrage ready. Edis was able to get Bowder, and there's the barrage coming in. That looked like a lot of damage, but at the end of the day, Kiam was awake enough to actually counter it.
It looks like Ollie has accidentally muted himself. We'll see if he comes back. He might have just pressed his button accidentally. But we will just see this fight develop further on. It's going to be Kiam and the kill in the Yubi. Goku still flying in the sky, uncontested, gets a counter kill. But here is Goku in the sky, trying to just use his jail as the fallback base, trying to build up to an next barrage, get another pick off, but it's finally too much. Too many have fallen, and it's going to be keine ahnung that finally holds off this attack once again. 1:30 left on the clock, and it's going to be keine ahnung in a good position to maybe hold this point in seconds.
Understood. I got it.
It looks like the audio from my co-caster is still having a bit of issues, so I'll just be running this solo for a little bit. No problems there. Going to be further going into this fight. Yeah, there's plenty of resources ready here for keine ahnung. That supercharger already leading to a lot of poke and a hard approach from Goku. That to be so careful, because one headshot is just the end of it, and Mukraba already down. Going to be trying to push in aggressively, and they're going to. The better already out. No more heals for Goku, but Trust Me falls as well. Both sides losing quite a few picks here. Goku going around the side, trying to flank this with the barrage. Goes in with a lot of damage, taken out of the sky. Does take one with them, and Imo finds Edis. This is a back and forth battle, but the cart is only now being touched. Keine ahnung, plenty of room to work with on the high ground to get back to the fight, and the spawns are going to be able to get a pincer maneuver out. There's Trust Me on the Echo to start providing that, and with a rally and the application matrix, the sustain should be there. That being said, O1 Esports in a very good position now. Have the car rolling and forcing them off the high ground. It looks like my co-caster's finally back. Ollie, welcome back to the fight.
Thank you so much, and it looks like a right on time. Look at that graphic flux moving straight in there. Good move on Emo's side, and Goku once again coming in over their sideline. Edis in a bit of trouble, very low, but gets healed pretty well. Kiam was able with that amplification matrix to negate a lot of damage by throwing a lot of healing through that. And I must say, what I saw from the positioning from AKA, that looked absolutely solid. You can stall it out as long as you don't give Goku any field of attack. Trust Me on the side finds Goku, has fired the ultimate in there, and is now controlling a Sigma of their own. That is a nice graviton flux, and now they are trying to make something happen. Trust Me, another flux coming in before that ultimate finally ends, and now they're moving in. Exo and Trust Me making sure that that is clear and going for the better. The overtime wick still running at this point. Kiam able to find onto Goku, gets border as well. Overtime wick is very close to being over, and that's it. That's a hold right there. I am so sorry, but I really need to replace that microphone cable.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. No worries about that, Ollie. But yes, keine ahnung showing up finally in this game. The first time I start having faith in them. And that is dangerous, because O1 Esports, they experienced this yesterday. They went very well against Samsung. And then all of a sudden, Samsung found an answer. They found a way to deal with Goku's Pharah and Yubi's Ash, and just win after that. There wasn't really anything that O1 Esports could try again, because it just seems like they had one trick, and that was all they had. Looking at what keine ahnung is doing now, how are they solving this issue? They're looking at their flanks. They're not sending Trust Me and Edis in on weird missions. They're holding back because they know Goku will go on a weird mission. And as long as they're playing as a team, they can stop that Pharah from coming in. They figured it out. Team play is the key. And if they can keep that answer rolling, if they can keep mimicking what Samsung did yesterday and be dominant in that team play factor, there should be looking good to potentially pick up this map and even get a reverse sweep going, because they are 2-0 down, but they're definitely not out.
Well, that is absolutely true. However, instrumental to the way that this halt was done was that they not only were able to, well, not send their DPS on weird missions, like you said, but also there was a lot of cover. You were able to actually hide in that saloon or actually take that high ground route and just deny Goku either any mode of attack or deny him the high ground dominance, because that was beautifully set up the way they did that on their when they were up on the high ground. When I was trying to say that and my microphone didn't work.
Yeah, of course. We will see Edis now come in with the Ash, with Goku on ball. They're already taking the double kill. This is not even an attack that started. They just walked in and died.
See what's happened, UB on the sideline.
It's over. Like, there's no fight. They're gonna reset all. Like you can, they just walked in and died. Like I said, just threw 2 picks gone. And I mean, if we just started having faith in you again, keine ahnung, that's not the start you want to have. Please don't do it to me.
AKA's gonna give it to you. That was a great hold. Goku already firing a couple of pot shots in there. On the other side, Imo under fire, maybe needs to give up the high ground, actually has to do so, and now could be a good moment to move in. Trust me, get at least that turret. It did look like they got one of the supports, but at the end, kill feed is always right. Edis up on that high ground, looking for more targets, 72% to that Bob, and the Bob will be instrumental in actually breaking this wide open.
It should be. The healing is just there in time for Edis. Was under a lot of pressure again, but they have forced Goku over this roof, so now Trust Me can go for that duel.
Imo with a nice accretion onto Edis. That might stop that. Yubi has actually set that molten core in there. So right now, keine ahnung once again denied the opportunity to move forward. 2 minutes on the clock right now.
Looking good so far. Trust Me, under a little bit of pressure. And they're playing this slow. And playing this slow usually means that you're going to feed over ult charge to Goku that can just explode then. But it also means that you're not taking unnecessary risks. You're positioning yourself exactly where you need to, and you're not losing fights that you don't need to take. So now that they're in a position where they're finally made it to the point, this is where the fight truly starts taking place.
We'll see what's happening. Trust me. Nice sticky bomb onto Mank. Edis finds Goku, and right now, just the better electing to actually res his fellow support, which is a good move. All in all, it looks like AKA could just roll this in, and they should be able to do that. Yubi going down to Edis as well with the help of Trust Me on their sidelines. The duplicate Torbjorn still running the show, and this should be the cap by all means and all intents and purposes. Molten Core coming out of Trust Me, just making sure that no one can stand in front of their sightlines there for a second.
I love that white molten core. It almost looks like it's, it's snowing outside. You get a bit of a white Christmas in Hollywood there. We'll see. Trust Me. I think it's really nice right now because they're forcing Goku to a position that Trust Me can then catch them rather than Trust Me trying to go for a solo mission again. They're playing it as a team, and that's really nice to see. The Echo is finally starting to work out. We saw it happen before, but this time around the duplicates are getting immense value, just able to clean up some stranglers there. And now the setup on the high ground is completely there for keine ahnung. They don't need to worry about playing against the high ground team. They get to hold these doors at the spawn of O1 Esports.
That's right, and Edis in a very good high ground position means a lot of nice sightlines for that Ana, and means a lot of trouble for Goku potentially. We'll see whether or not they can actually use that potential to get it done. But we do see O1 Esports taking the full scenic route here over the sightlines, trying to molten core into both the high ground and into the sightlines of that payload that is slowly inching ever forward. Yubi trying to basically close off two venues at once. Not entirely sure if that worked.
Ooh, Goku a lot of pressure from that Bob. They're on 1 HP. They're gonna go for a health pack because they won't be out of the fight for a while. That's a good chance for keine ahnung to make up some ground. Already taking down Yubi's turret. Now moving into that little corridor with no fire, and they have the damage advantage. Edis even taking out the barrage in Goku. That will be the map.
Goku was just trying to make something happen, and Edis is unfazed, just looks straight into all of those rockets and fires a single shot and makes it happen. Beautifully played, beautiful setup, and this is the you know, former Team T-Bottle that I wanted, the keine Ahnung that I wanted to see. And, you know, we are looking at a potential comeback because, and I'm pretty sure I said that before, what we've seen so far, as soon as there's a payload, this entire thing changes.
It's not just, I mean, the payload helps, of course, and the map is you know, it's a factor in everything, but so far it just seems that keine Ahnung has figured out that they just need to let Goku come to them almost. They need to they need to manage their space correctly, not go on the aggressive themselves, and O1 Esports will come to them because O1 Esports isn't able to really execute as a team as efficiently as keine Ahnung is. You saw it against Morningstar, you see it here again. As soon as Goku has to start making a play and not have the enemy run into them, so basically they're going on the attack as a Pharah, that's where that hero starts getting a bit weaker. That's where she becomes more predictable, and we saw it happen over and over again. They figured out the patterns. Goku didn't have other places to go, the cover wasn't there, and the flanks from Trust Me, the setup from Edis, and the space that was there was just all the answer that they needed.
Can we talk about Trust Me for a second, though? Trust Me jumping in there, especially on that moment where he just copies the Sigma, gets that flux up, takes that second flux in there, and just completely dismantles any momentum that could have happened. Now, you can actually deal with one flux, but two of them? Crazy.
It was three as well, because Chosh got won that fight as well. So there was 3 fluxes you had to deal with, and they just win that entire map off of that play afterwards, because the momentum is completely broken from O1 Esports. They have 1.5 minutes on the clock after, and it just doesn't come back from that. They're just not able to, because the Pharah has a far too long distance to travel with not enough cover, and there's too much to do, too much poke that keine Ahnung is able to set up. And when we look at Hollywood, with a map that, especially in street space, has that high ground, a lot of open space, it's hard for a Pharah to move around. You don't even want to start talking about Route 66, because that map, aside from Point 3, is all high ground and open space. This is going to be even harder to win for O1 Esports. And if keine Ahnung keeps up the pace they've been doing so far, they are very likely to pull out the reverse sweep here.
Do you remember the game? I can't remember who their opponent was, but there was this game in the Overwatch World Cup where Team Italy ran a Pharah in combination. A Reaper in combination with a Mei, and they held it back on that first point. Now, if keine Ahnung can do something like that on their setup, basically after the first point cap in that tunnel and hold it for 5 minutes, I would be happy, because that is a good way of just dealing with those long-range compositions that O1 is trying to force. Just get in their face, and that's something that I would love to see from them.
But getting in their face, I mean, honestly, if you're gonna play the Pharah here, it's hard to play from longer angles here, because they could just pull out a Widowmaker and shoot you down. I was expecting them to maybe hold spawn, because you can almost fly above that as Pharah. Goku not going for that move. O1 Esports holding back on to Big Earls will not be progressing any further in the map. So this card's gonna make it to the first corner before real action's taking place.
Well, we'll see how it is going to work. Edis and Trust Me both already under fire. Trust Me absolutely gets pelted by Goku. They're not even enough time to get that ice block out, and Goku going for more, trying to make sure that that lower tunnel stays clear of Vermin. Now Yubi, nice shot onto Edis there, and it looks like this might open up the defense for a bit of an aggressive defense, but Exo and Josh say no dice, we are pushing, and there's nothing you can do about it. Well, Yubi maybe can, but not Goku. Moving forward straight here, Yubi just changing his sightlines every 2 shots, and that's beautiful to see.
Yeah, almost a 3-part defense. You have the Pharmacy, the tanks to the Baptiste, and then the Ashe that's usually off on her own somewhere. This time it's a 2-parter. a little easier to deal with. But that was a beautiful halt accretion onto that on that Flower of Goku. Very nicely done from Josh and Exo. If they can keep that tank play up, this is going to be a very good attack coming out from keine, ahnung.
There you go, that's the second one. Immediately firing it in, but there's an immortality field to prevent harder things. Macabre is actually able to make something like that happen. Kiem on the other side finds their counterpart and actually finds them to death. Actually goes onto Goku. Edis with a shot onto Bowser, and this looks very close to the first cap. This should be over by all intents and purposes, and we should be moving on to the second little bit here.
Yeah, Kiem able to help out with that hit scan as well. Of course, Baptiste can shoot Faris and Mercies out of the sky as well if they want. They even have Makraba being able to almost be staggered out here. They're so low. Don't have the immortality field anymore. Yeah, this will be a kill from Edis, or trust me, eventually. There we go. That's a big stagger. This payload's going to make quite some distance, and the high ground setup is already there for keine, ahnung. One Esports has to come back in this quick without their Baptiste.
That's right, and the Sigma versus Sigma battle up on that high ground might actually prove to be very beneficial to keine, ahnung, because look at George with that setup. That is beautiful. Nearly actually is able to hit Goku with the accretion on the sideline. Trust me, now able to take the Mercy out. Edis fires the Bob in and makes sure that there is no one to mess with him. That's the Edis I know. Let's go.
And I love it when teams show that they understand their position that they're in from their information, right? You know you get that latest kill onto Makraba there. You know they don't have immortality field. Just throw them the Flux. It's free kills. There's nothing they can do against it.
That's right, and if you could just keep them in that little bit of tunnel, and it looks like they're trying to actually do that on the side of keine, ahnung, then this is very beneficial for your push. 20 centimeters away from the second cap right now, as trust me, and Edis right their targets. Charge, nice fire onto Imho here, and trust me, once again on that Sigma copy, looking for more targets. Beautiful.
There's just no stopping them now. And Route 66, once again, see, they coming out of spawn here as One Esports as like 2 or 3 people, and they almost even get taken out as well. Very aggressive posturing. Keine, ahnung, they're feeling it. You can see it. You can see the blood in their eyes. They want it.
That's right, they want it, and they have finally figured out how to deal with whatever it was that inhibited them from giving that and living their best life at that point. Though Goku and Yubi are making sure that at least 2 of keine, ahnung cannot live their life for a couple of seconds as they've been sent back to spawn. Goku looking for more sightlines on that side track here, is firing into the little corridor, weaving front and back, making sure that they always know where their opponent are coming from. 3 minutes and 50 on the clock, and it is looking quite good for keine, ahnung right now.
It really is, but this is usually where this momentum stops, right on this last point, and it's hard to regain it. Supercharger and the Bob are out, respectively, from either side. With those ultimates out, it's just going to be a bit of a stalemate. Neither team really wanting to commit at this point.
Ooh, Goku fires into the supercharger, though. Trust me, going on a wild adventure there. Going all the way into the back. Looking for Yubi there. And that was beautifully tried with the sticky bomb. The better was there to make sure that nothing worse happened. That's the counter bomb. Edis firing in the ultimate. Goku is able to clear that, but that bomb is still in there and still firing a lot of shots on behalf of that immortality field that Kiem put in there for the front side. This is looking not as solid as it could have been, as most of the momentum has been lost, like you said, but there's a nice prophetic flux coming in from Charge. Trust me, on the side there.
Opening it up. Yeah, nicely done from Judge to open that one up. It provides a lot of space. And you see One Esports wants to back off, wants to have their Sigma back into it, but they might not have enough time to wait for that. And that's Goku!
Goku with the barrage does a lot of damage there, but Exo is awake enough to at least make something happen. Yubi and Bowder are sure to clear it out. They just were able to pick their sideline, to pick that engagement there, just shy of 50 meters before the point.
Yeah, very nicely done to come back into that one. Of course, they had to wait a little bit, but Goku once again opens up the fight with that one. Will be going over here to the last attack. Well, not the last attack. They have 2 minutes left. He's still trying to get this last point. Trust me, ready with the duplicate. Exo with the supercharger. It could be a nice combo and a nice opener, but trust me, falls to the other side of Makraba.
That's right. Trust me, was able to get Yubi out there, though. That was a very advantageous position for any Ashe to ever have. And Yubi being rest up there by the better, but that only means that you can now try to focus a bit on Goku. And Edis looks like they're going to do exactly that. Look at that high ground control, at least trying to control it. Is found, though, by the Far Mercy in time. Trust me, over there with a nice another copy. Goes once again for that Sigma setup. Is able to take a lot of damage onto that. That was a nice accretion. Fires it into the ultimate. And this could potentially be devastating with Trust Me. Takes down with a triple kill. And now goes for the fight there against Yubi. Takes number 4 out. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you use that Echo to full potential. What was that crazy setup?
It's just guaranteed ult value. You know that they can only use Immortality Field once. And if you force it out with one ultimate, you throw in the next one, you'll just win. What follow-up as well. You saw the Immortality Field trying there from Mekarba, but just got pulled away. And every focus fire after that is good. 57 seconds on the clock. Great stuff there coming out from keine, ahnung. And they are truly in this series. They're now in it, and they're going to try and pull it out, the reverse sweep. But so far, looking at least like a 2-2 is very, very much in the cards.
And I have to say, you know, looking at the stakes here, they are 2-1 down. Clutched it out onto Hollywood very closely. And now this full 3-0 is worth a lot of money to keine, ahnung. 01 Esports are still able to close the door on this if they so wish, and if they are able to do that. But keine, ahnung, if they can hold the defense as nicely as they were able to hold that momentum on their attacking side, it's going to be an interesting matchup, and this may just be the decider here. The last map, nice and easy, but this might be the clutch out map we have been waiting for.
Clutch out potential is 100% there for keine, ahnung, and they needed it. Like, honestly, it just wasn't looking good in the first 2 maps, and now that they're finally getting back into it, it's just looking so much better. Like, trust me, on the Echo has really made a difference. We saw it yesterday with Shikari doing the same thing. They even switched Atnar over to the Mercy, and Lyolor does not even need to do that. That's how much value they're getting out of these Sigma plays from Trust Me when they duplicate. And it's just such a heads-up play. I said it before. If you know they only have 1 Immortality Field, why not use that information to get more value out of 2 or 3 fluxes? Because they can only save 1.
Trust me, immediately going down, though, because Yubi was able to just set up an angle payload coming around the first turn. A nice hold accretion there. Goku in a bit of trouble, but immediately gets healed up for a lot of damage. And now Yubi is looking for some more targets here, as that payload has rounded the first corner, is going around the petrol station, and Immo on that high ground doing a lot of work for the good Lord.
Yeah, it will be keine, ahnung backing up a little bit, of course, losing Trust Me. Now they're going to lose Exo. There's just no hold going on, but Trust Me is trying in the backline. Gets that Pharah, almost gets that Mercy together with Edis, but they will be a slippery Swiss flying woman. Now we're going to see if they can maybe do something with the front line, but it doesn't look like it. keine, ahnung crumbling here.
Yeah, Baudev cleaning up the double there on the back of the rest of the team. That was beautifully played. Goku already trying to make some space. Goes up onto Edis and had a bit of trouble right there. But once again, the better is there for better or for worse.
Definitely is. 01 Esports, again, going very aggressively. Of course, does the same thing as keine, ahnung. Get as much space and as much late staggers as you can. Because if you do that, it takes so much longer for the defense to be able to set back up. keine, ahnung will not be in that high ground position that you want to hold in. And that all has to do with the timing. Where do you choose to defend? And they chose to defend on the door of the first objective, meaning that they will always get these slower spawns. And even when they get staggered out, it's even worse. But they're going for this aggressive backline. They don't want to go on the high ground. They don't want to go on that objective. They want to go straight into 01 Esports.
Oh, wow. They're firing actually the Bob, and Edis firing the Bob back into the backline. But falls off the cliff or gets halted off the cliff. One of the two, no, actually falls fully off there. And Yubi now able to take it to Edis and to Kiem and a little bit to Exo, and is looking for more targets right now up on that high ground, only being pelted here by a little bit of damage by Charge, who is just surrounded by O1 Esports right now. 3 minutes 56 on the clock, and it is looking very good for O1 to equalize this.
O1 Esports just so far has been rolling through this map. We saw it happen with keine, ahnung as well. It will be the same story here. 5 minutes and 7 seconds left to push into the third objective. Josh has the Gridic Flux, and this is really where this hold has to start happening.
And there's the Flux coming up in there and does quite some damage, but both of the supports there to make sure that no hard feelings will be had here. Charge trying to make sure that his team has all the angles and off angles to make sure that they can do their job. Good Graphitic Flux on the other side there as well, trying to force that immortality field out. The barrage is still alive, and there goes the shield from Charge. But it still was able to prevent a lot of damage. Immo and Bauda do their job and make some noise right there. Yubi with a nice kill. 4 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. And I had my doubts about Goku in this close encounter or in this close space. But it looks like it's working so far.
I mean, it's what Goku wants. They want to give the Ashes and the McCrees and all the hit scan as little room to work with to get an angle on them. You see Edis already far forward up on that truck. I don't know if they know that Edis is there, and they might get the drop onto Goku or Yubi. Right now is actually a choice of O1 Esports to back up a little bit to recompose. And now they'll try again for this attack. 3 minutes 47. Whatever they do, as long as they complete the map, they'll get another shot, of course. But the more time, the more pressure it puts on keine, ahnung.
That's true. Keine Ahnung here, trust me. Up on that setup, tries to go for Goku immediately. And now both on the hit scan. Edis on the McCree, trust me on the Ash. And they're just trying to make sure that they have as much possibility to deal with that Sky menace that the Far Mercy is as they can. Edis goes down, but is able to make sure that Goku goes down with them. Beautifully set up. Now, trust me, has the Bob, will most likely hold off onto firing it in there. No, it's going in. It's taking an angle with a lot of cover, and they are forcing O1 back here. 2 minutes 58 on the clock right now.
Now, the better has been using resurrections in situations when I'm really questioning why would you use a resurrection there. You're resetting for a fight. Your respawn will take 2 seconds longer. You don't need those 2 seconds. Just use the res in the mid-fight if you can. Yubi now goes down. This is the moment where you could have had that res.
This is the moment where you could have needed that res, and it's actually there. Look at that.
It still doesn't really save them any time from the res before, though. Like, it doesn't give you anything extra.
That's right, but on the other hand, it's not as dramatic. Edis now with the high noon tries to make something happen, but gets accretion off it. There's no more immortality field right there, and this bunker is crumbling fast as Goku and Yubi go to work. The bomb is coming in from the sideline, and O1 Esports are holding the full line right away. 2 minutes on the clock, and it looks like they can even better the time of their adversaries.
They have to work with as well. They still have the barrage and the amplification matrix. It's just so hard to come out of spawn now, but the Doomfist and Tracer are out. Trust me, can they hit the punches at Edis? Can they be the buzz bee in the backline like there's a bee flying in my room right now?
I'm pretty sure they can. I know Edis is Tracer, and it is worse than most bees or wasps you can fire in, but it is Kiem again with a triple kill. Kiem just clearing it out here for a second, giving keine Ahnung a fighting chance, and that is what a support is not supposed to do. But still, I love it. Edis and Kiem clearing it out. 1 minute 20 on the clock, and that was crazy.
Because Trust Me and Edis are being more aggressive while still being able to play with their team, so they're being bigger threats. Kiem now gets the space to be that DPS Baptiste. The front line is holding conservatively in Exo and Josh, and that means that Kiem, we haven't given them enough credit, but this is another time we saw it. They are just able to help out with the damage output.
And look at Edith just weaving around, trying to keep Yubi from doing any more damage. That's a nice stick, could actually do a lot of damage, but is eaten by Immo at the end of it. That was a beautiful eat, and that was absolutely life-saving. The barrage ready, actually coming out. There's a double Kiam Exo. That's number 3 going down in charge, but trust me, coming in from their sideline, taking Goku, taking Yubi, and making sure that there is a fighting chance for keine Ahnung as Edith comes back in, gets Goku, who was recently rest up right there, and makes sure that the room is clear. Edith, and trust me, earning their bacon now.
Yeah, Edith just completely harassing that backline. Almost got the better. It would probably been the better kill to get there, but they still got the stagger on Makarba. Only 9 seconds. Makarba is not back yet, and now it's Goku on the Genji. The desperation swap.
Bob coming in back there. Goku goes onto Kiam right now. Has, of course, the opening to actually make something happen on that Genji. The overtime wick is already running, and Yubi fires onto Edith. Now, this is going very, very far, very, very close. Trust me, jumping in there, trying to make something happen, going straight for the Orisa, but to no avail. This should be the cap, and it is. But still, 57 seconds difference, and that is a lot of difference for round 3.
3-3.
Yeah, round 3 and round 4, the overtime rounds, it's a minute that's different. But it's not actually a minute that's going to be different, because if it just repeats itself history right now, both teams did not get stopped until they got to point 3. So both teams are likely, if they just repeat what they did before, to just keep on pushing this card and get the third, and then it's really where does one team lose the first fight, because both of them are going to be in overtime before before they lose the match. That's just how that works, because that's how overtime rounds work. You're going to get in overtime before you lose, and I think especially on this map right now, the way these teams are playing, they're going to get in overtime, and that it's really who's going to get furthest in that overtime. That extra minute actually might not even matter.
We will see how it will develop right away. You might be right. However, if you are keine Ahnung and you expect, the standard setup to come out, maybe your eye is more on the sky, maybe you have a game plan for situations like this, or maybe you just wing it. We'll see what's happening as the payload is ready to be pushed. And we do see O1 Esports trying to get their go at it. Goku once again with the long sidelines. Edith's already going down. That may be a bit of an issue, especially since... okay. Then we see Makaba with the double kill, just trying to make sure that everyone knows that there's 2 Baptistes in this game, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, and this is just a weird setup from keine Ahnung. You either hold on Cafe or you hold in their spawn, and they went for this like soft spawn hold, which doesn't really do anything. They basically lose the same fight. The only thing that can be said for it is now that their second fight will be a little further forward than it was last time around, so they actually get an okay fight around Big Earls this time.
That's right, and Goku already pelting in the rockets while keine Ahnung are coming around the corner. They are going back onto the petrol station. Will they be able to deal with that damage that is coming out of Goku? Charge very low already. Overtime wake now is alive. Edith very close to actually getting Yubi on that sideline. And trust me, looking for that target is going for the full-on distraction mode. Is not able to actually kill Goku, but is able to distract them for a long time. Goku though immediately with the double kill. Kiam and Edith going down, and that is it. There's the hold, and keine Ahnung holding them quite well, and I think that was on the back of that maneuver by Trust Me, just baiting out Goku.
Yeah, and it's been happening more often, right? That Goku is not being fought by multiple people. It's actually only one. They're finally starting to abuse this numbers advantage you get by 1v2ing the pharmacy as 1 DPS. And that's all. Sometimes all you need is just to create a numbers advantage on the ground, win the tank battle, win the support lineup, and that's just what's been happening right there. Trust Me indeed baited out that pharmacy, got them distracted for long enough for the rest of the team to get the value, and that first fight, it's just you kind of forget about it. You know, it's in the past. You didn't really need it. Just tried something, didn't work, didn't matter because you got the second one. And this distance in 2 minutes is very achievable.
Now look at that. Edis and Trust Me going for the Echo and Ash combination yet again. My biggest question on that would be, will they have enough pressure to get their team around those two corners? Because it's just a chicane away from equalizing this series.
Looks like they're going to be doing the aggressive hold, using Yubi on the Mei aggressively in their spawn. They want to give Goku the opportunity to spawn camp them, but Goku's the one that's furthest away, and that's not something where the Pharah usually wins that battle out. They usually win that battle by going closer to this hit scan, especially the Ash.
Oh!
To get that going. We get another little bit of a freeze from our production end, but Yubi gets that first kill in the Trust Me with a nice right click. Will be Edis trying to walk back into spawn in order to not die, but they are still fighting here. This is just one pick. They could still have the spawn advantage to get that kill on the Goku.
Nice shot. That was a 1-2 tap by Edis there. Almost died earlier. Had to actually, Guillaume actually had to use the immortality field just to keep Edis alive, but Edis is able to get some value by taking out Goku. Goku immediately rests though, and it looks like a very aggressive defense here by O1 Esports. I think they may have heard you earlier on when they said you want to hold them at their spawn. That's exactly what's going on right now. With 1 minute on the clock, keine Ahnung have to make something happen.
Right now, honestly, it is just keine Ahnung that needs to get out of their spawn, and finally they're able to do so. It's the same thing that happened, and now you can see it, right? They have about 45 seconds left. This is where the minute actually mattered. If they only had a minute, they might not have been able to get out of that spawn and get this card going. But there's one fight that's going to decide this map. This one fight that's coming up. Goku with the Barrage, Yubi with the Blizzard, and this could be the end of the series, or it could be a map 5.
That's right, and Goku is trying to find that opening, pelt some shots, while the rest of O1 are now putting the pressure in. There we go, the amplification matrix already going out. Baudir making a lot of space. There we go with a bit of a wall from Yubi and trying to push back keine Ahnung, push them away from their own objective, push them away from that big heartload. And there's the coalescence coming in from Lyolo, and that means that they are forcing the forward movement. Exo and Edis firing it in. Goku fires the barrage in. It's not able to get enough damage out there. And Charge with the double kill. The overtime wing is running. There is no way that this is coming back, and we are going into a map 5.
Yeah, it's going to be a map 5 for keine Ahnung. That got close, but still no cigar for O1 Esports yet. They have to show that they're still the dominant force on the control map. They showed it on Ilios, and they're gonna get Oasis, the two Pharah-based control maps. They're gonna get another shot at this, and I'm gonna go back to it. I've said it yesterday, and I'll keep saying it until someone proves me wrong. If you want to win a best of 3 series or a best of 5 series, be good on control and one other map type. So far, they were good on control. They were good on one other map type. If they can keep it going on Oasis, we might have gone to map 5 for no reason.
No, that is right, and we do see the individual quality coming out of O1 Esports, especially out of their DPS, is crazy. They are just waiting to get Yubi back, who's restarting their computer. So we are throwing it to a very short break. I have to, wet the whistle, and we'll see you in a second.
Get the popcorn out.
Hi, we are back and we are seeing a lot of German copy pastas right there. So I would very much encourage both of your teams to give these teams your energy. We are going into a map 5. We are going on to Busan, I believe. So that means
Ooh.
O1 Esports versus keine Ahnung. Once again onto Control. What can we expect after this, insane 4-map series? What are your predictions, man of class? Because I am just at a loss for words on this one.
So I thought it was going to be Oasis, but that's the map 6 that they could have gone to if they got a draw somewhere. So gonna indeed be Busan. And actually, I think keine Ahnung can thank their lucky stars that it's Busan, because I think that's a way better option for them if you're playing against the Pharah than Oasis would have been. Oasis has always been that map that is known for dive and Pharah play, so maybe they had some strategies of their own. But going into mecha base here, this is not a great map for Pharah. It's possible here, but usually you might see teams actually go for something more brawly. You might actually see some Reinhardts coming out.
Yep, and we see our production is clear for landing right now, and so should both of these teams be. In 5 seconds, they are able to pick up their heroes, and I am just stoked to see what they will come out on this mecha base. Like you said, Goku might not want to be on the Pharah because of the very, very enclosed space, and Edis would have a field day finding them. Trust me on that Mei. Interesting pick. Might have still gone for an Echo maybe, but might have gone onto the same issues as Goku. What do you think?
It's all of those things. I know that Goku can play an amazing Genji. Yesterday, we actually saw Goku pull out a 5k blade that just exploded Morning Stars at some stage. So not at all would be surprised that the same thing can happen again. They're not just the Pharah one trick, but they will still have the better on the Mercy to damage boost Yubi.
And we will see immediately both teams coming out, not opting to go for that large high ground contest here, as O1 Esports already lose the better. So right now we do see, aka they are going hard at it. Charge needs to be saved here by a little bit of a wall. Edis, and trust me, looking for some targets, especially Edis versus Goku. It's Genji versus Ash, and Genji wins it out. No, actually it's Yubi coming to the rescue there. That was beautifully played, though the time is already ticking, and aka holding this for a couple of seconds. Goku coming in from the back, doing a lot of damage with that dash, going straight for the immortality field there, and Goku and Yubi now there to dismantle the efforts that have been set up by the ladies and gentlemen from Germany, as it is the Saudi Arabians who are showing us how it's done, and the cap is real.
Yes, very nicely done there from Goku, especially able to synchronize with Yubi to get that kill onto I think it was Edis, right? Yeah. And then they just Edis was on the Ash. Yeah, sorry, it wasn't Edis on the Ash, and they were able to synchronize that up. Will now have to fight against the full might of keine Ahnung once again.
Yeah, sometimes it just sticks in your throat. It's not as bad as Stop Toxicity, of course, but still the high ground battle in full swing, and now Goku with that blade going in, immediately being countered though by a nice blizzard. Edis, and trust me, in control of this, and they're flipping it over. That was beautifully played there, and you do see that Goku, even though the Genji is real, the Mei is still the absolute devil to some people.
It really is. Now you'll have the blade ready of Graphitic Flux. A supercharger is exactly that combo of ultimates that you want to just outright win a fight. Nice wall to start off.
Now we move, Exo and Charge go in there, same as Edis with that blade, finds in a double, and going all the way to the spawn, making sure that O1 Esports know what's up right away. 52%, and this time, Control is not looking so bad for keine Ahnung.
Yeah, keine Ahnung just... I mean, this is the one map where Pharah is really hard to play, and I think that's working in their favor. But the Mei of Trust Me is finally getting the value that it hadn't been in past in the series. Finally, got stunned out of that one, I think.
Yeah, Edith got stunned for a little while. There's the counter-gravitic flux, and you do see that now Goku and Imo can do a lot of damage after pressing the entirety of keine Ahnung into a corner, 82%, and this is finally the flip. And now it's up to keine Ahnung once again to take it onto the attack. Remember, this point quite defensible, even though you have 3 different venues of attack.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very close in the end. We are expecting this, of course, after that 4-map series we've already had. Trust me, will not be anywhere close to that Blizzard. Neither will the rest of their team. It's going to be O1 Esports that will be able to hold on to some ultimates and win this fight outright if they can do it correctly. But it's all about that execution. Can Goku find another 5k blade? I sure hope so.
We will see what's going to happen now. This time there is something coming out. Goku has not fired the blade in now, jumping up in there and trying to make something happen. But it is, even though a lot of damage coming out, Imo and Yubi who do the dirty work. 83%, and now the equalizer is there. Keine Ahnung in a tough spot. There's a Blizzard. There's a how do you say, amplification matrix, but will that be enough?
That's the thing. Well, O1 Esports just completely misread the situation. They might not even have known they were that far ahead in ultimates because they've got nothing left. Keine Ahnung, by any way, shape, or form, they just walk up on the point, take this, and just put it to 99. They haven't even had to use ultimates yet, and they still.
Oh, Yubi takes on the main tank though, but Edith coming in with the blade. The immortality field holding the wow, actually keeping the support safe right there. Kiem onto Yubi right now, trust me, doesn't have that Blizzard anymore, and now we are going into overtime. It's 3 versus 1. Where are the fast characters for keine Ahnung? The capture has been on the other side there for a second, so they should be able to go in there. Exo already got down there. Edith is not able to push, to touch. There's Lucio, Liolor trying to make it happen. The overtime, we're going down, and the first point being taken by O1 after what looked like a sure thing for keine Ahnung. And this is control. This is where O1 thrives, and you don't want to give away the only point where you had an advantage.
And keine Ahnung didn't have to go. They had the ultimate advantage, but they just overstepped their boundaries. They go in with a Blizzard that hits nobody. Edis goes solo to in a blade after the supports when you should know they have immortality field. That information game from both these teams severely lacking in that situation. O1 Esports not realizing that they had an ultimate advantage in the fight before and spending everything, and then keine Ahnung not recognizing their advantage in having the objective controlled and having the ultimate advantage as well. It's just going back and forth, and at this point the team that is sooner gonna use their information correctly might actually win this out. It doesn't even seem to be of an individual skill or team skill anymore.
No, that's right, but this time around Goku once again on the Pharah. So now, being back as a fish in the water, together with Yubi, who already is able to get a nice off angle on that, and Imo with a double, going straight at it. It does look like O1 have at least his first fight in the pocket. There's the cap, and that means the time is ticking against keine Ahnung.
It's different than it was on Ilios though. Keine Ahnung immediately making the swaps that they've been making in the latter maps in order to deal with this pharmacy composition. Trust me, back on the Echo, Edis on the Ashe, and Liolor onto the Moira. And they can definitely win fights with that. Not a lot of ultimate advantage yet. This should be a good start still for them.
We'll see, trust me, looking for a couple of targets, but Yubi is ready for them this time around. A lot of open space, firing the Echo in there when you don't have... Well, Supremacy of the Sky is a risky endeavor at this point. Kiem's Immortality Zone has been used, and that means with one person down and no zone, you need to pull back, regroup for a little bit. But once again, 40% already on the clock. That time is ticking against keine Ahnung, and O1 are looking solid.
Yeah, looking so far like O1 doesn't want to give this one up. They just want to win control and get an easy win in that case. It will look like that's going to be exactly what happens, especially when Goku keeps going in deep, but it's not happening with Trust Me and Kiem on the line.
Trust Me and Kiem are still trying to make something happen, actually biting the dust. Kiem here to Imo, while Bordir and Exo are duking it out, but there is not enough pressure coming out of keine Ahnung for now to actually make something happen. 70% on the clock, and now things are just getting hairy.
they're forcing the issue. They're going into places and playing aggressively into positions that O1 Esports is holding without any real plan of execution. They're almost seem like Hail Mary attempts. You saw in that first fight when Edis just dashed in for no reason. You're seeing it here again where try to make a play when they don't need to.
And now moving in, Goku has that barrage and is probably looking to make something happen just to close the lid on this one. We are looking at an overtime wig. Goku firing in the barrage, but Charge with a nice gravity. Flux taking it out, and keine ahnung have not given it up just yet. They should be capping this. They have capped it, and now it is a long way to defend this, but they can do it.
They definitely can, especially since the offensive Pharah is way harder to play than the defensive one. And finally, they're able to kite away from Goku, deter that positioning, and take the fight where they need to without the pressure of the Pharah. Edis now in a comfortable position to take that duo versus Yubi. And this defense, this map, is far from over from keine ahnung.
Yep, that is right. Even though the res has just come out onto Yubi, and that means that the full stack for O1 Esports is back in there. Edis gets that immortality field out, immediately fires the bomb in. Right now, a lot of ults being committed though. Charge and Edis both firing their ults into the ether right now. Actually, I think that was Trust Me on the duplicate. I'm terribly sorry about that, but still, beautifully played, 55%, and now with a little bit of guts, they could actually pull this off right now.
Yeah, ultimate management is going to be incredibly important. They'll have Mines and Amplification Matrix, two ultimates that can do a lot to stall out an enemy team attacking, and to also do a lot to build up other ultimates. Good minefield in that corner, a lot of space to move in, and Exo is not done yet.
And Trust Me in Charge, making sure that something is happening on the sideline. But Goku immediately retaliates as Imo goes down. It's 83% on the clock. Is this O1 just playing with their food? Or is keine ahnung really going to take this all the way? We will see in under 10 seconds when this last fight is going in. Bob is being fired out there from Yubi, and that means that the attack has been called. The trumpets have sounded and the overtime wick is running. Yubi finds Charge on the sideline. The overtime wick slowly going down. Goku making sure that not a lot of people can pull into that. Trust Me going down, who is back on that Torbjorn. Exo is also down, and now it is just looking hairy. Goku with the barrage fires it in. The overtime wick should be going down by all means, and it is, and that means O1 Esports take the win, take the 5th map, and take the series. What a crazy game, what a crazy series, and holy moly, what was that last bit?
Oh, it's such a shame. Keine ahnung, they were so close to getting that back, but they just overstepped. Even in that last fight, O1 Esports has been playing a great series, but I mean, this should not be able to keep working. You cannot keep having the Pharah just fly around there if it's the only odd thing that's working. And keine ahnung, it seemed like they'd figured it out, but it, once again, control just brings them too much chaos. They cannot keep it together, and they got too eager in the end. And this, in a lot of ways, was an upset. Not a lot of people were expecting this. Again, we look at the community vote, 16.9%. With 2/3 of everyone thought that was going to go. I think even myself, I voted it for as well. I really thought that keine ahnung coming into this with a far better open division performance would have been the better team. But sometimes the map pool, the day, the team matchup exactly just doesn't quite work out for you.
That was just crazy. I mean, the Saudis have just shown us, what they have in them. It was a crazy game. It was, I thought it was over. I really did think it was over after the first 2 maps, but I knew Palo, there's something going on, something maybe happened. They take Hollywood, then they go on to Route 66, take Route 66 handily, go into there, and then you get these 2 very, very close sides, both flipping at the last little bit to O1 Esports, and I think that was mostly down to individual skill combined with just a little bit better ult management, I would say, at least on that last map. I'm absolutely stumped here. And I must say, props to both teams, because I did not think it would go to be as entertaining as it has been at the end of the day.
No, after that first 2 maps, it really seemed like it was going to be a short series, but they brought it to map 5. Very nicely done. And unfortunately, we won't have an interview with one of the players, so we won't be able to hear their thoughts, but I can only imagine that's because they just want to go straight to partying. And why not? I mean, you won the series, you're now 1-1 in trials, you might still have a shot at contenders. That ship has potentially already sailed for keine, ahnung though, but with how close these groups seem to be, there is a mathematical chance we might get for some tiebreakers or something like that. So don't give up hope. keine, ahnung, get some more wins on your belt and you might still be able to get up there. For now though, that's been the series for today. I don't think the other stream is going. No, they're already done. We were the last ones with that map 5. Not surprising. But there'll be more trials back tomorrow.
I'm sure it will be. So stay tuned tomorrow afternoon or in the early evening or wherever you live, depending on the time zone. We will be there. Monkey Bubble bringing you more of the EU EMEA Contenders Trials. And until then, I have been the Olimancer. With me has been and still is the man of class. And thank you for watching. See you next time.